I said, plug me in. I got stuff to talk about, damn it. I'll crawl out of my earbuds once a week to give you a show. That's what I do, folks. I do this show for the common man, for the people in despair. I bring this show into the world and I sell it everywhere. The simple truth lies waiting here, folks, for all of you to share. Hold on, I will take you there. Hey, what's happening? Mike Schmidt, 40-Year-Old Boy Podcast. Schmitty is alive. Schmitty comes alive. Schmitty's alive for real this week. I mean, not that I wasn't alive last week. I certainly was alive. I came to you via phone. I came to you over the phone waves. That's how it worked, folks. And then we had Schmitty Comes Alive, and you guys loved it, and you wrote me, and there was such great feedback. And I enjoyed some people who were just like, oh, my God, I'm so happy to finally hear that story. And I say to you, you didn't have $5 for 2 fucking years? What is wrong with you? It was $5. Holy God. Do you just not pay for anything? Is that your way of doing things? And again, I'm a weird dude because again, I'm almost 50, but I have no kids. So I really have no responsibilities. But also it shows in my life because I have nothing going on at all. Like literally I have no good job or whatever. Things are a mess, as we know. I am an unkempt bed. That's what I am. I am a yard full of leaves. That's who I am. I'm a guy in need of attention. I need to be fixed. Grab your rake and fix me, folks. That's what I say. Tidy up around here, for fuck's sake. Do you want to earn your allowance or not, folks? Once a week, I come here and I give you your podcast allowance. If you want to earn it, grab a rake and tidy up around this motherfucker because I am tired of doing it myself. I cannot grab the reins and fix this myself. I need all of you to grab a rake and clean this yard. Let's do it. Let's get out there like Joel Goodson and rake up some leaves, and then we'll have the guy from One Day at a Time, Richard Mazer, come over, and then I'll say, looks like University of Illinois. It's risky business doing a podcast, folks. That's what it is. And I have a question that's very important for all of you. Who's the U-boat commander? That's what I ask. I haven't seen Risky Business in a long time, and I want to see it, and I will tell you this. I have the soundtrack. I actually made it a point to find the soundtrack, because the soundtrack to Risky Business is like a lot of money. Like go to eBay or to Amazon. It's hard to find it, and it's always like $35 because Tangerine Dream has like a very cult following, and they didn't put out the tracks from the Risky Business soundtrack on anything else. So you can only get that music via the Risky Business soundtrack. And I look forward to the Tangerine Dream fan club writing me and going, yeah, you are incorrect, sir, and here's why. And then they got some fucking fruit-based knowledge about Tangerine Dream that I have no idea about. So I had to look all over the place for that album. And I looked for years. And I'll tell you this, let's go, you know what, let's peel the onion on me a little bit. Let's go ahead and peek into my soul right now. I went and saw Risky Business at the movies. I got to be 81, right? 81, 82? It's 81, I think. And I don't know if I was just being contrary teenager. I don't know what was wrong at the time. I fucking hated it. I hated it. And again, I'm 14, so how much does a 14-year-old hate anything? I have no fucking clue, really. I can't attest to my taste, certainly, at that point in time. But I watched Risky Business and I was like, nah, that did not do it for me. It was the whole feel of it was kind of ethereal. You know what I think? It was too good for me now that I look back at it and I think about it, because it was more for 20-year-olds and that it might have been like a high school movie or geared toward like those were high school students, but it was written at a higher level. I was expecting Porky's, I guess, probably when I went there, and I was expecting there to be, Kim Cattrall howling like a fucking wolf in the goddamn rafters and some guy named Pee-wee and a bunch of stupid shit happening. But instead, I've got Joel Goodson and an egg and Guido the Killer Pimp, and then I've got who's the U-boat commander. I got all that stuff happening. But I can tell you this right now, folks, I will tell you, love Risky Business now, love the movie, and even love the soundtrack more than the film if it's possible. And by the soundtrack, I just mean the Tangerine Dream cuts. I don't give a fuck about the fucking Manish Boy that comes on in the middle. Although Manish Boy works pretty much in every movie, I think. And in the 80s, they were doing it for a long time there when Manish Boy would just play whenever anybody walked down a hallway. You know what I mean? It was that sort of thing. Manish Boy, you know what Manish Boy is? Manish Boy is the father of Bad to the Bone. That's what it is. Manish Boy is totally like, because Bad to the Bone is like this snot-nosed kid, and it's like, fuck you. Let's get Manish Boy in here if we want to have some sophistication. Manish Boy is Bad to the Bone wearing a tie. That's exactly what Manish Boy is. I just enjoy the fact that out there people are like, I don't know what Manish Boy is, and I don't. You know what actually is? You know what song I don't care for? Mannix Boy. And I have to be honest with you, that's a bit because I love Mannix Boy. Oh my God, it's my favorite song. Now, a song I do really like is Spanish Boy. And Vanish Boy. And Banish Boy. And Tannish Boy. That's not so bad. And Clannish Boy. Stop. Stop rhyming. Why are you rhyming? Who do you think you are? Literally, I'm calling myself out at that point. It's just stop. Stop. So last week, folks, we came to you via phone. And that was fucking weird. For me, sitting at a desk and vomiting words into a goddamn cell phone. Because who talks on the phone anymore? Nobody. And then, of course, the only reason I'm doing it is to bring you a disembodied podcast guy as he talks through his phone in the dark at my house because I have 3 light bulbs that work. And that's seriously true. Like I was, my house is dark. I'm never there. My life is dark, and my house is a good metaphor for my life. I don't know. I can't explain it, folks. I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know. I need a rope. I need a lifeline. I need a hand. Can you guys give me a hand? Put down your rakes and pull me out of this hole I've dug for myself. Can you do that? Is that possible? So last week we did that show, and then at the end of the show, folks, I had a I don't know how to put it. I don't know what I want to call it.
Can I describe it?
Let's hear it.
Dumb idea.
All right, I think it may have been a dumb idea. And I should tell you this, if you're hearing this, the offer is now null and void, as you know, because you had 1 week. You had 1 week from the sound of my voice last week to the sound of my voice this week. I think I said 2 o'clock a.m. Pacific time this week, so that's when this will go up, I think. So what I'm saying is, the second you heard my voice start this week, that's when the offer ended. It's not like now that I'm saying it ended. No, whatever the fuck, 4 minutes or whatever we've done so far. No. It ended 4 minutes ago. It ended on, hey, what's happening this week? It's 2 a.m. Were you doing golden earring? Is that what you're doing? You lost me. It's 2 a.m. All right. The thrill is gone. Keep going. Hey. You knew more words than I did because I didn't care for that song. You know what? The only thing I like about that song is the opening riff. It's another underrated Sinister riff. Down. Yeah, did I talk about that in here?
I changed my name to Sinister Riff.
Sinister Riff is a great one. That's a good name, Sinister Riff. Because I've talked about underrated Sinister riffs on here before. We talked about the B-52s, Rock Lobster, underrated Sinister riff. Daft Punk is playing at my house, LCD sound system, underrated Sinister riff. Bow down, count. You know what is not an underrated Sinister riff? That's Romeo Void.
Yeah, but that sounded really similar. I don't know any Daft Punk at all.
No, it's a song by LCD Sound System, and it's called Daft Punk is Playing at My House.
I don't know any LCD Sound System either.
It's a jam. You know, I will tell you this. I was bamboozled by LCD Sound System because I loved Daft Punk is Playing at My House. I was truly bamboozled by LCD Sound System, which, by the way, is one dude. And now he quit music to join a baseball team. He's got like the weirdest story of all time, or become a filmmaker, or he drives a choo-choo train. He's one of those guys. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm done playing music. I'm going to ride a bicycle built for two. It's like, all right, idiot. I don't know, one of those. You know, he's an eccentric dude he's able to go off and do whatever the fuck he wants, and that's good for him. Because I'll tell you, I don't understand artists who claim that they're going to quit during their art. It's like the weirdest thing in the world to me. But I will tell you this. As a guy who does something, I can kind of see the appeal in going, yeah, I'm just going to stop doing that forever.
Especially now.
Isn't that weird? Yeah, no, like, right. And believe me, people at home right now are just going, you should stop now, by all means. Why don't you draw a halt to it this second? Well, I hear you, and I understand you've got one hand on the cord and you'd like to pull the curtains closed on this. But however, you need to put down your hook because I will stay on the stage just a little bit longer. Oh, just a little bit longer. Please. Where are you going to? All right, so your mama won't mind. Is that the Jersey Boys? Those dudes like Frankie Valli? That's Stay, right? Oh, won't you stay?
Frankie Valli in Four Seasons.
That movie, that play, I don't know anything about it. Am I supposed to think they're tough guys? Is that what it was? Like Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons were fighters, or they were like? Because I guess.
In the sense of the Sharks and the Jets.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like in the commercials, it's supposed to be like, we're the Jersey Boys, yeah. You know, I mean, dude, but then you sing Sherry. I mean, I can't find the tough guy aspect of it. And that's the thing, I guess maybe that's the story of Jersey Boys. Because again, I haven't seen it. I don't know anything about it. But maybe they were like a bunch of tough dudes who sang like sweet songs to get girls to like them, but then they were still tough dudes. I don't know. Are they like comic book characters? I have no idea. The Jersey Boys? Because again, the first thing when I heard Jersey Boys, I swear to God this is true. They said there was a play called Jersey Boys, and I'm like, how do you make prank calls on stage for 2 hours? I have no idea how you do that.
That's crank yankers.
And then I was like, wait a second, that's Jerky Boys. Of course it is.
Oh, jerky.
Well, that's the thing is but I'm telling you, I'm not joking. I had that initial epiphany when I first heard. Are you giving me that? You're giving me extended vowel sounds? I don't think I care for that, quite frankly.
I feel bad that I fucked that up so poorly to not
Perhaps you feel badly about it. Why don't you add an LY in
No, I
there?
feel bad.
No, you should feel badly.
No, I feel bad. My finger hurts. I feel very bad.
You do have a bad finger. Well, that's from dialing the phone. She's been doing all the calls for me, folks. Let's talk about that. So you guys, last week I threw out what Lily is calling a dumb idea, but I prefer to call a reach out campaign. That's what I call it. Where I reached out to listeners such as yourselves. Like you ever watch PBS and they're like, this show is made possible by listeners like you. Well, this show is made possible by a host like me, because honestly, you folks have nothing to do with it. No, that's a lie. Of course not. You're awesome, and so I said, you know what? Last week I wanted to. Here's what I decided to do on the fly. And it's funny. I say on the fly, but at the same time, I did create the email address and stuff, so I kind of knew. But last week, if you weren't paying attention or you missed last week's show, then haha on you because you missed this offer. Which is now ended with the sound of my voice this week. I offered to, I offered to call everybody. That's what I decided to do. I was like, hey, if you write me at this particular address by a certain time, I will call you. Sometime before the month of September ends, like Green Day said. And here's the thing. A lot of you people are just like scoffing at that. You're like, whatever, idiot. I can tell you this. A lot of you people not exactly scoffing at that offer. You may have actually stepped up and said, hey, that's an offer I'd like to take advantage of. As witnessed by the filled to bursting Gmail inbox that I have right now with all of your names and numbers. And look, some of you, there are names I recognize. There are names that are new. I will tell you this. There's a guy in Germany who decided to send me his number. I don't know why he did that. And by the way, I should say this. There's 4 people in Germany who sent me their number. When I say a guy in Germany, I should say that there were 4. Whatever. The bottom line is, folks, I know you're thinking to yourselves, well, how many people wrote Mike or want him to be calling them? Well, I don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't have an exact count for you because I stopped checking last night. The last time I checked was yesterday in the middle of the night, and I can tell you that we were up to. We had 209 people who wanted a phone call from me. Now, I can tell you that, now I talked to Lily about this, and I was like, I'm woefully disappointed by the number 209, because that seems to me to be a complete underrepresentation of my audience, because I don't know anything about the numbers and finding, because, I mean, we have ways of finding out how many listeners we have and where they're at and all that kind of stuff, and at 209 seems really low. Like, I thought it was going to get deluged by people who wanted me to call them, but Lily then brought out some very complicated algorithm to prove to me that I'm doing very well. Apparently, I guess I'm doing well that many people want me to call their house. I don't know. I guess I'm, you know what I am? I'm like the shopper, or like, I'm the penny saver of podcasts. Like, I just showed up, and if 209 people read the penny saver, I guess they got to configure that a success, right? They got to be like, yeah, we're totally happy that somebody read this, right?
But again, the algorithm is not how many people responded, because in radio, 1/10 of 1% of your listeners are people who respond or interact with the show.
Well, that would be normally, but people talk to me all the time.
Yes, when you have this many listeners, 200 responding is a reasonable amount of people who actively went, hey, I'm on my iPod, now I'm going to go over to my computer and send this guy an email and request he call me.
I enjoyed the amount of people who all said, boy, I hope you get my voicemail, because this would be the most awkward phone call ever, like if you called. And then there are people, because I was able to look at just some of them, and then there are some people who are like, I can't wait to talk to you for an hour.
Are there some that wrote, call me, I'll be asleep, here's the times to call?
I will tell you this, out of the 209 people so far that we have as of yesterday night, because again, I did not check today, and some people could be getting in under the wire, but of the 209 people who have entered this contest and written their names or whatever in their subject line, I'm going to say roughly, and this is just a guess, 207 of them use the phrase, hey, Schmitty, this is crazy, but here's my number and call me maybe. I don't know. I'm going to say 207 of the 209 people did that. To the point where I just, you know what I wanted to do is I just wanted to call them and just play that song into the phone. So then when they check their email, they'll be like, oh, that's, or not their voicemail, not their email, right? I can't call their email. God, I wish I could call their email. I don't even answer their emails. But see, that's the thing is it's hard to email everybody. So if people just, dude, whenever you write me an email, just give me your phone number. I'll give you a call. I mean, I don't care. I'll give you a shout. I mean, it's better than having to type out a bunch of nonsense.
No,
right?
Stop. Do you realize how long it's going to take you to make 209 calls or how many more have been added?
Well, Jill's been telling me that, as a matter of fact. Jill last week when she heard about the offer, she was like, why? I wish I could do her, I wish you could see it, but she just had this glazed look like, what are you doing? Like she couldn't understand it. She goes, how many people are you gonna have to call? And I'm like, I don't know. And the funny thing is, my cell phone plan, like I get 450 minutes a month. Like so.
You finally got rid of your home phone, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't have a landline anymore.
Finally got rid of it.
I did. I did it just before I made this offer, which was really smart. That's how I should have done it, right? No, because I was trimming the fat. I was cutting some things here and there and taking care of business and going, you know what, I'm going to save some money and save some cash here. And that was one of the things I got rid of. Yes?
I have 1 million rollover minutes right now. I think 2 hours a day you should come over and make calls and you can use my phone.
I can use your phone?
Yeah. You just have to block the number.
No, I don't know about all that.
I'm willing to donate my minutes.
Your number's on the internet anyway.
Doesn't matter.
You know, maybe I'll take you up on that. I might do that.
Honestly, I have 60 million rollover minutes.
Yeah, because right now my rollover minutes are in the thousands, so I would be able to make it. But I kind of like having that little rollover bank.
I have a ton.
I have a bank full of rollovers. That's what I have. That's what I call it. You know what? I have a popover bank.
You should call everyone at 4 in the morning though.
4 a.m. their time or 4 a.m. my time?
Their time.
That seems a lot of work of finding out time zones. Look, because then I have to call John Lydon, I have to call Africa Bombada, and I can't do either of those things. Actually, they're my first two calls. That's exactly what I do. I call John Lydon, and I call Africa Bombada, and I find out about a time zone. It's a time zone. That's my John Lydon. That wasn't bad, actually. I feel pretty good about that. World destruction. All right, so what if I just did? Dude, I think I actually like my John Lydon. That wasn't bad. I got to do a John Lydon the rest of my life. All right, so EMI. God damn it, I'm going to do John Lydon forever. All right, I'm going to call him John Lydon. I should just call him John Rotten. We all know him as Johnny Rotten. Well, I can tell you what. This is the story of the Johnny Rotten. Huh?
You knew him when he was John.
Of course I did. There is if you know what, I can't find it. We should find this because I shouldn't tell people about this and then not fucking tell them where to find it. There's an incredibly thoughtful interview with John Lydon when he was still Johnny Rotten. He came into in England, he came into some guy, he was still with the Sex Pistols and he was still Johnny Rotten, but he came in to play his favorite songs. It was like almost like a fucking Nick Harcourt or whatever the fuck they had in England, like their own KCRW type of dude. And he did this thing where he would have artists in to play what they wanted. You can find it online if you just Google like John Lydon radio appearance or John Rotten radio appearance. And I think it's about an hour. And they talk to him in between songs. And he's, of course, as you know, he's brilliant. I mean, he's incredibly smart and soft-spoken, and he's nice when he's not doing the fucking, when he's not hiding behind the whole fucking thing. He actually was really just soft-spoken and smart and bright. And you can go, well, this guy knew exactly what he was doing the entire time. Because people always try to make that thing up where they were controlled by Malcolm and all this stuff. And by the way, I call him Malcolm because we're good friends. Such an idiot. So stupid. Time zone, it's a time zone. I'm going to do John Lydon all show. See, because you wouldn't think that guy that I just did would be soft-spoken and able to carry off an interview like he did. But, when you go and listen to it, although he is still English. So the entire interview, you can hear his teeth rattling in his head because he has no fluoride. There's no fluoride in England, right? I don't think so. I think the only fluoride they had there was a Prince in like the 1600s, right? Prince Fluoride, wasn't he there? if I remember correctly. Or no, he was a Scottish prince. 209 people want me to call them, folks. You know what? This is the offer I should have made. I should have called them as John Lydon. Now, if I would have done that, would they have taken me up on the offer? I don't think so. It would have been like me and one dude talking all night, me talking like fucking John Lydon into his phone. Maybe I do that. Maybe I change it because I changed it up late. Maybe I call everybody now as John Lydon. They're not going to know it's me. Well, they may know it's me because they're not expecting a call from John Lydon. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Well, and they heard this.
Yeah, they may have heard this. I've blown the whole plan. God damn it.
You got 3 hours to call everybody before this goes.
I do. Well, that's fine. I can pull that off. 209 calls in 3 hours. And although I haven't looked today, Jesus Christ.
Click. Hey, it's Mike. Click. Hey, it's
Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening? Hey, what's happening? Hey, that's John Lydon doing our podcast. All right, so. So that show, and it's funny, if you download that show with John Lydon, it's like he's doing a podcast. Like it's like traveling in time to hear the first ever podcast. John Lydon invented podcasts. That's what he did. You know who's doing a podcast now, as a matter of fact? U2 is doing a podcast. The band U2. Or at least they did one yesterday, because it just showed up in my iTunes uninvited, and I didn't subscribe to U2's podcast. I didn't know that U2's podcast was going to be coming out. And I'll tell you this, here's the separation. When I heard that they had done that, I immediately grabbed my phone and I went to my music, and then I went to my artists, and there was U2, and it said I had 10 albums, 72 songs. And when I opened it up, the new album was there. It was in my phone. This is 10 minutes after I saw it on Twitter. And it was in the cloud. It was in my phone. And I was like, dude, that's totally awesome. So I hit download. And of course I got it because I enjoy U2. So then I came here today and I'm talking to Lily and I mentioned U2. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I go, what? Because we were talking about the iPhone 6 and the iWatch. And she was mentioning those things. And then I said, wait a minute. Well, you heard about U2? And she goes, no. And I go, you didn't hear what happened? She said, no. And I go, dude, it's fucking awesome. U2 gave away their album for free yesterday. It's genius. Like, you can go and check out your computer. It's sitting there. You can just download it. And she just goes, oh, I don't fucking like that. I said, what do you mean? U2 gave you a free album. If you don't want it, don't listen to it. She's like, I have push notifications off, and if Apple's doing this, it's a violation of their terms of service to me. And I'm like, oh my God, no, please, don't be that person. Don't, please. But it turns out she's a person who cares about her privacy. I can't understand why. But when I heard her side of it, because I just thought it was a cool thing, because I like U2 and I wanted their album, so I'm like, yay. But if you look at the undercurrent of what happened, that's essentially what they invaded your house. Like, U2 came over and just ate your sandwiches. Like, they didn't even fucking ask you if you wanted it. They're like, fuck you, here's our album. Like, and I get, like I said, I like them and I wanted it. So for me, it's a welcome intrusion into my phone. I don't mind 4 Irish lads visiting my phone and hanging out. That's fine. They came by in a cloud and they surfed right into my phone. Perfect. That's a great place for 4 Irish lads. But Lily, she doesn't like Ireland. She doesn't like potatoes, certainly. She's not a fan of whiskey. She doesn't like U's. She absolutely hates twos. So for her, this was a violation. She just got fucking, she got shamrock fucked. And she's not happy about it, quite frankly, folks. She had to bend over and take a shamrock in the place where the sun does not shine. She had to, she got fucking shillelied by U2, and she's not happy about it. And when I heard her describe it in my head, I was kind of like, yeah, I guess that sort of makes sense. Like, I mean, you wouldn't be happy about them just putting shit in your computer. But then, of course, Lily, she just goes, take a look at this. 1, 2, they took 65 megabytes of room in my computer. And this is what I said, so delete it. And she's like, yeah, but you don't understand. And part of me didn't understand, but then I'll be honest, within like 5 seconds, I completely understood, because that's shitty. I mean, that's like in the old days, U2 would have had to come to every apartment building in America and slide their album underneath the door. That's what they would have had to do. But instead, they were able to ally themselves with the omnipotent Apple, and they went ahead and they insinuated themselves into your life and into your computer, which for me is not a bad thing. But I will tell you this, you know what? Eventually, other guys are going to catch on to that, and they're just going to show up in your computer. And there's nothing you're going to be able to do about it. And it's not even going to be just bans. It's not going to be like, entertainment stuff. You know those dudes who are cutting people's heads off in the Middle East? Eventually, they're just going to put that right in your computer. You're going to have to check it out. ISIS, is that what they're called? ISIS, that's what they are? And I think, now correct me if I'm wrong. Well, don't correct me if I'm wrong. You're home and I'm not there. I'm in your head, though. I think we're going to war with those people, aren't we? And here's the thing. I'm going to ask you folks, does anybody know who those guys are? Anyone at all? I mean, I've heard it's ISIS, and it's a bunch of extremists, and it's a bunch of dudes in comfortable desert clothing cutting the heads off reporters, right? Is that who it is? It's like 5 dudes, I think. I'm not sure. Again, I'm not following the news that closely these days. But I know that it speaks to the power of imagery, and certainly the power of images, because they cut off like 2 reporters' heads, and now we're going to go to war with them because all these people get all freaked out, and they're like, we got to do that. It's so crazy to me. Because you could have said to me, hey, they cut off 10 reporters' heads, and everybody's just like, well, really? That sounds terrible. But then you show them cutting off one reporter's head, and everybody loses their fucking minds and thinks we got to go and invade over there. And by the way, all the people who want to invade are people with lawns and homes, and they don't have to go and invade. I mean, dude, do we really want to send more 18-year-olds over to get shot to find the dudes who cut the one dude's head off. And again, maybe I'm oversimplifying this. I don't know. Look, I don't know anything about war. I'm an old man. I know nothing at all. And I was part of the generation that didn't have to join the military and didn't have to go to war, which is really good because it would have been awful. That would have been the first war we really lost. I mean, because Vietnam we lost, but we got to come home and go, well, whatever. But if my generation had to go to a war, like I think we'd all be speaking French. The French would have defeated me in a war. That's how bad it is, folks. I'm telling you, because I'm nuts. I'm nuts, but I don't know if I'm war nuts. Like I'm fucking bank nuts. That's who I am. I'm good enough to go crazy in a bank, but I don't know if I can harness that crazy and bring it to the desert and start killing fucking strangers. Although I think I can kill strangers in a bank. I think I've got that in me. And I'll tell you, you know who really thinks that? Strangers in a bank. They really think I have it in me. Because I will tell you this fucking story. Why not? Let's talk about this. Dudes. I went to the bank I don't know, a week ago, something like that. And as I got in line, I went to the front and I said, hey, do you guys have safe deposit boxes? And the woman said, yes, we do. And I said, oh, okay, well, do I have to do anything special for it? She goes, we got to sign up and it's $40 a year. And which sounded, I can't believe it's only $40 a year. I know it's weird. I'm basically renting air. You know, it's just like renting a parking space. All I'm renting is a lock. That's it. Basically, you know, I know what you're thinking, buy a safe or buy a fucking padlock or whatever. But look, folks, I have some things that I need to keep safe and I'd like to deposit them somewhere. And where else better than a box? So look, safe deposit box. It all works out perfectly. So I asked her, she said, yes, we have them. It's $40 for a year. I said, you know what? That's cool. I might actually come back today and get one. And this is at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. They closed at 5. She said, great, just come on back. So, and I know you're thinking to yourselves, Mike, what could you possibly have that goes inside of a safe deposit box? Well, stuff and other stuff that's expensive and important. All right, look, my high school class ring. Anyway, so. Hey, man, it's got my ruby in there. That's my birthstone. My ruby birthstone. It's a gold ring. And actually, my high school class ring is like flat on the bottom. And this is how I know it was real gold, folks. I was moving furniture one day, like wearing it, and I wasn't even thinking about it. And then when I tried to take it off, it wouldn't come off. And then I finally got it off, and it's totally flat on the bottom because gold bends, folks. That's how I know it's super gold. That's how I know it's a very good class ring. And that's why when Jill puts it on the chain and wears it around her chest when we go outside, everybody knows that I'm serious about her. So I know she doesn't really have it on a chain. She wrapped a bunch of yarn on it, and she wears it on her finger. All right, so green yarn, because that's my favorite color, and it goes well with the ruby. It looks like she's wearing Christmas on her left hand. Her right hand, yes, I know when you're just hanging out and you're dating, it's on the right hand. If we were married, she'll wear it. You know, if that ever happens, if somehow, if Jill's father shows up with a shotgun and makes us get married, he wants me to make an honest woman of his daughter, she'll have to put it on her left hand. That's not a bad idea to get married with my high school class ring, right? Because, I mean, honestly, I think it's a perfect metaphor for who I am as a grown-up. Like, I fucking get engaged and, like, pinned at the same time. Like, we're going to homecoming and getting married at the same time. I like that plan. So I'm at the bank, and they said, safe deposit box, $40 a year. I said, I may come back. I went and ran some errands, put my clothes in clothes jail, got some more stuff, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to go back to the post office and then ask them why I'm not at the bank. I'm going to ask them why I'm not at the bank for a safe deposit box, because there's a P.O. box at the post office. Anyway, who cares? So I grabbed the stuff that I need to put in a safe deposit box, and and by the way, I'm comfortable telling you this story because the stuff is no longer in my apartment. Because right now, they're all planning to come get me. They were planning to break into my home because they heard that they had amazingly expensive things in my home. Not anymore, folks. In the safe deposit box. So break into my apartment willy-nilly if you'd like. Actually, you can't. I put my willy-nilly in the safe deposit box. Well, girl, you know it's true. So I went to the bank, and this is now it's like 10 to 5. All right. So I walk into the bank, and I should tell you this, it's like a Monday night because they're open till 6 on Friday, but the rest of the time they're open till 5. I think they're open till 2 on Saturday. They're not open on Sunday. Listen, here's the schedule of my bank and what their hours are. Oh, stupid. So they're open till 5 during the week. So I get in there, it's like 10 to, you know what, let's amend that. I'm going to say it's 7 to 5. It may have even been 6 minutes to 5. Whatever, they're not closed. The door's open. I can get in. I gain access to the bank. I walk in with my very expensive items, and there's got to be 45 people in line. I mean, it is a retarded amount of people. And when I say a retarded amount, I mean an 8 that is drawn with very squiggly circles because it was drawn by someone who can't draw and they're handicapped. All right, so I use that a lot. I use that. I'll say retarded, but dude, that was a retarded thing to do, or a retarded. And I know some people say it's the R word and you shouldn't say it, and those people are retarded. All right, so I'm at the bank. I'm in line at the bank. Now I sound like Dice, because when you're in line at the bank, so I got my tongue up this chick's ass. How would John Lydon do it at the bank? All right, so anyway, I'm there, and I'm in line, and I'm waiting to put my stuff in the safe deposit box. Well, first, I do this. I come in, and there's a lady. I should tell you this. At my bank, they've got the tellers all in the teller who's gal. They're all behind the little plexiglass, right? They're back there, so you can't touch them and you can't steal anything. But they do liberate a teller every day who has to come out on the floor and then deal with the riffraff. And I know that they don't want to. I'm sure they'd rather be in teller jail and helping you through the plexiglass. But these people actually have to kind of glad hand you and go, "Sir, how are you?" It's their way of showing them that you care, or them showing you that they care about you as a customer when they don't give a flying fuck about you as a customer. The bank wants to pretend that they do because they want you to keep their money in there and rent their safe deposit boxes. But fucking be honest, the tellers don't care that I'm there. Nobody else really cares that I'm there. And I don't care that I'm fucking there. I'm only there because I don't feel like sewing fucking money into a pillowcase. All right, I just want to make sure that somebody takes my money and puts it in a building with a lock on it. So I get in, and there's this woman. And I should tell you this: there's young tellers and there's older tellers. Well, this lady at the bank is a how do I describe her? How do I describe this lady? She's probably 50, maybe 48, and she's every second of 50. Do you know what I mean? Like someone who. Like if you were to say Miley Cyrus to her, she'd go, "Oh, I don't like that Miley Cyrus. She's really dirty." Or like one of those people. Like you can just see her and she's wearing like a smart pantsuit and a sensible haircut and sensible shoes, and you know that she has never had sex with the lights on in her life. And I don't know why I'm judging a bank teller person by that credo, but I mean that's my guess. That's who I think she is as a person. She's not anybody who's ever really lived life, and she's kind of heavy, and she. It looks like she learned how to put on makeup with the Girl Scouts. You know what I mean? So there's just that much rouge and there's that much fucking eyeshadow and a little too much lipstick. She's playing grown-up woman, but it looks like she never really learned how. Like maybe her mom neglected her a little bit, and that's why she ate too much and she got a little heavy, and that's why she wears these pantsuits and why she works in a bank and has to tell me that she's happy to see me when she's really not fucking happy to see me at all. And quite frankly, probably hasn't been happy to see anybody other than the ice cream man all fucking year. So I come in. And it's her job to immediately zoom over to me and go, "Hi, thank you for coming in to the bank. We're so glad that you're here at the bank. Do you like the bank? We like your money." I mean, it's just fucking awful robot bullshit. So I say hi, and then I say, she goes, "What can we help you with?" I said, "I need to get a safety deposit box. Is there a way I can just kind of just do that with sign up?" And she goes, "Oh no, I'm sorry. You'll have to get in the line." And I go, "Really?" And she goes, "Yeah, there's already 2 other people ahead of you for safe deposit boxes." And that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, everybody is coming there to deposit their fucking items, their valuables on a Monday afternoon? How has there been a crime wave that I didn't know about? Because I just out of the blue, I thought of doing it, but now there's people actually in line waiting to get a fucking safe deposit box and save their valuables from what? Who? I don't know, some jewel thief? Some cat burglar? Is fucking David Niven loose in my fucking, my neighborhood? I have no idea. You know who we need on the case? Mannix Boy. That's what we need on the case. That would actually, you know what? If I was Nickelodeon Jr. or Nickelodeon, I would create a 70s detective show but starring kids. Oh my God, how great is that idea? And call it Mannix Boy. Write it down. Nobody writes it down. Nobody reaches for a pen. Literally, that is an idea that is not worth the ink at all. Like not even worth the graphite lead and a pencil. I was like, write it down, everybody. And that was, you know what? You know how everybody wrote that down? By moving their hands like in that stroke off motion. Like, sure, we're writing it down right now. Like that was everybody's commitment to that bit. But I still think Mannix Boy with a bunch of kids. I mean, that might be an Adult Swim show. That could be an Adult Swim. Maybe I pitch Adult Swim. Because it's like, dude, if they're gonna put Chris Elliott on that fucking, what the hell show does he? I watched it. I can't even. Oh my God, it was so bad. Where he's a cop, and then he and Brett Gelman are cops, and I don't know. I tried to watch it. I love Chris Elliott, and I just did not get it. Didn't get it because it was like, hey, let's let Chris Elliott do all that Chris Elliott stuff, and then Brett Gelman will take his shirt off. And I guess that's okay in a formula for a 15-minute show, but I tried and I didn't care for it. So I'm at the bank, And she tells me there's 2 people ahead of me for safe deposit boxes. So I say, fine. I get in the line. And again, like I said, it's about 6 minutes to 5, and there's 3 tellers working, and then there's a couple on the floor, and then there's the desks that have the people who are not tellers, like the guys who sign you up for new accounts. And there's 3 of those dudes, and one of them is available, and 2 of them are just fucking, I don't know, answering questions or giving people checking accounts or handing out toasters, whatever the fuck you do at the bank. Giving them that fucking weird check thing that goes in your checkbook register. No, is that what it? No, check register? What's it called?
Check register.
The register, right? Yeah, I'm right. So I show up, and I've got a handful of valuables, folks. And that is not a euphemism. So I get in line, and I'm waiting. And then they're helping people, and everybody's, some guy, I'm here to pay my light bill. I mean, it's like those people. What are you doing at the bank? And I understand people have to work, so they can't get into the bank until, fucking 5 minutes till or 10 minutes. And that's those people, and I understand it. People they have lives to lead. But it doesn't stop them from grumbling. I mean, people are getting a little kind of antsy because it's warm out. It's like 90 fucking degrees, and they're standing in line at the bank, and nobody wants to be there because they probably worked hard all day. And the bank employees, and look, I guess I understand why they did this, but the manager of the bank, she was back in the little fucking teller jail, and she stops and she looks at all this and she goes, all of you are staring at me, and I want us to go faster, but staring at me isn't gonna help. And the lady, but she was doing it in a funny way. She was trying to be cute and funny and interesting, and she wasn't saying it mean, because she stopped and she put her hands on her hips, like, all of you are staring at me, like, and we're all in this together. That was what the vibe was. But of course everybody in the line laughed because it's uncomfortable and weird. But even worse was the poor woman teller who's now the free range teller. She's free range. She's no longer caught in the pen. She laughs like the fakest laugh ever because she can feel the tension outside. And that's the thing, is the people behind the plexiglass, they're not going to get torn apart by customers. If there's a revolt, they can just lock the doors and stare and watch everybody die on the outside of the walls. This poor woman is the first line of defense, and she's going down. I mean, she's going to get torn into fucking heaps of flesh. It's going to be awful. So she recognizes that, and she knows that she's surrounded by a pack of human wolves. And so when that woman stops, and she's like, you're all staring at me, but it's not going to make it go any faster. And then this woman just goes, she's like, oh, she's a cut up. She always makes us laugh so much. And that overcompensating laughter and trying to get everybody on everybody's side, and like, oh, we're all having a good time here, even though it's the bank, it's warm outside, and we're all in line, and the line isn't moving, and you guys are standing here, and you're trapped, and you could go home to your kids and maybe eat something and enjoy yourselves, but instead you're on your feet all day like me. I could be back there in the teller jail, but they ostracize me, and I'm here in a tweed jacket, and I'm sweating, and I'm staring at you guys, and you're staring at me, and I'm just waiting for one of you to make the first move, and they're going to find my skull in a ditch. So she's staring, and she's trying to liven things up, and the manager is too, and I'm waiting. And then the 2 people who have safe deposit boxes get called. Now, they're there to check their safety deposit boxes. Safe deposit boxes, pardon me. It's not safety deposit. Nobody's depositing safety in that box. They're there to check theirs. I'm there to get one. So as the line slips by, like 4 people are behind me. Now, like I said, there were probably like 25 people in line. 45, 10. There were a lot of people in line, folks. So I'm there, and as it's bleeding through and the tellers are helping people, and then I get to the front of the line, and a teller says, I can help you. And I said, oh, I need to get a safe deposit box. And she says, well, what do you mean? And she goes, you want to check your safe deposit box? I go, no, I have to actually get one. And she goes, oh, well, you can just talk to anybody who's out there on the floor at the desks. You remember the people who were available when I walked into the bank? When I first walked in, there was a guy there who wasn't doing anything, and the woman told me I had to stand in line. So when this woman basically says, you're fucked and you've been here for 12 minutes for no reason, I turned around and I looked at the overly cheerful free-range teller. And she was just like, oh, I totally misunderstood. I thought you had to check your box. And I'm like, no, I told you I had to get a box. That's why I'm holding things in my hand that would go inside of a safe deposit box. And I wasn't having any of the frivolity or the laughter. I was pissed. I was fucking pissed. I'm standing there. It's hot. Nobody wants to be there. And so they skipped me and they started helping the last 4 guys in line behind me. And she's like, oh, well, that's okay. Someone will be with you in just a second. I'm sure Victor will take care of you, or Armando or somebody, And I'm like, yeah, but they were open earlier and they could have helped me earlier. And she goes, well, I totally misunderstood. I'm sorry. There's so many people here and it's just closing time. You know how it is. It's crazy at closing time. And she's trying to overcompensate by trying to be funny. And I'm having none of it. I want none of it. I want nothing to do with any of it. I have my valuables here. here. Anybody could fucking cut my hamstrings and take them and run. I don't want that to happen. So, so I'm the last guy in line, and the tellers help everybody. And those 3 dudes are still helping people at their tables because someone has decided that they're going to open a savings account at 5 o'clock p.m. on a Monday. And another guy's over there talking about money market stuff. And then the other guy, I didn't even know what the fuck he was doing, but I'm standing there alone. The cheese stands alone, folks. And that's no Gouda. So I'm standing there, and it's awful. And here's what I do. Now I should tell you this. I also have my iPod on. All right. Now, I made a conscious decision to do this. But also part of me wanted to do it because I was mad. Now, we know me, and we know I go to therapy now. And we know that I'm trying not to get angry about things, and I'm trying to be a different person. I'm trying not to be me. Or I'm trying to fundamentally change who me is, so when I am me, it's palatable to the general public and acceptable in a public place. But I will tell you this. There is something to be said for being scary. It's fun to be scary sometimes. Now, I've never really thought of myself as scary. I know that I can get big and I can get angry and I can get loud and I can appear scary to people. I will tell you this. I've been told by a lot of people that I can be scary. Now, I didn't really realize that I was doing it at the time. Sometimes I do make that choice. Like when I was bouncing, I can tell you specific moments when I was absolutely scary because I made that choice. And making the choice, let me point this out. Making the choice is different from just exploding. Because I have exploded many times, and I've told you those stories where I just get out of my car and I fucking scream at somebody or I lose it. Making the choice to be scary, actually taking the plunge, that takes some doing. That means you actually decided, you know what, I'm going to fucking do this, and I don't care what happens. And I haven't done that in a while. Well, guess what? Now I have. Because I was at the bank and I decided, you know what, I'm going to be fucking scary right here because all the tellers are getting ready to get out of there. I'm the last guy and I'm a little pissed off because they tried to make it look like it was my fault that I didn't enunciate the things that I wanted clearly. And so she's like, oh, you have to stay in the line. I didn't really have to stay in the line. I could have been in and out of that motherfucker. All my valuables could have been in a safe deposit box instead of clutched in my left hand right now, ready to be taken away from me by bandits. I can't have banditos come in and take away my valuables. I could have locked them up already in the safe deposit box if this fucking free-range teller would have told me exactly what the fuck I was supposed to do. But instead, she was too busy glad-handing everybody, nervous because there was such a big fucking line and she didn't want to get tackled and fucking torn to pieces. So I decided, you know what? You didn't want to get tackled and torn to pieces by a group of people. I'm going to make you feel like you could be tackled and torn to pieces by one really fucking angry guy who you fucked and made him stand in the goddamn bank. That's what I'm going to do. I'm making a choice to be scary here right now. When you walk into my bank, there's the teller house where all the tellers live, and they live behind the plexiglass. And then there's the free-range teller who's out there nervous. And then there's a line area. And it's really, there's no velvet ropes. You don't know that it's a line. You only know that it's a line because you're a human being and you stand behind the person in front of you and in front of the person behind you. That's how you do it. You queue up. You form a line. You get your bread in Russia. In America, you put your money in a bank. Well, I come in and right now when the line ends, there's nobody in the line area. So the lobby of the bank is pretty much empty other than the free-range teller who's there trying to make obnoxious small talk and giggle a little bit. Well, I have my iPod on and here's what I decided to do, folks. I made this conscious decision. I said, fuck it. I'm going to be scary. I'm not going to sit here and talk to this woman. I'm not going to make her feel comfortable. I'm going to make her think that I'm comfortable with the fact that she fucking boned me. Here's what I decided to do, folks. I went fucking caged lion. That's what I did. I fucking paced back and forth, back and forth, back and fucking forth. I took 5 steps and pivoted and 5 steps and pivoted and 5 steps and pivoted. And I did it with purpose. I wasn't like, you know, fucking Gene Kelly and Singing in the Rain with like, do, 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 do. No, fuck that. You know who I was, folks? Because I actually thought of it before I fucking did it. I was Darth Maul. There's a scene in the Star Wars episode, whatever the fuck, and Darth Maul is fighting against Qui-Gon Jinn. And as they're fighting, or no, is he fighting Qui-Gon Jinn? I think he is. He's not fighting, or is he fighting Obi-Wan? I don't remember who the fuck he's fighting. All I remember is Darth fucking Maul with the double-sided lightsaber and the fucking badass makeup. And by the way, if Max doesn't draw me as Darth Maul, right, that's a huge mistake. I've got to be Darth Maul in the artwork this week.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'll tell him. We'll see what happens. So I get there. and I'm pacing back and forth. Well, in the fight in Star Wars, they're fighting, and they're fighting all over this fucking, I don't know, ramp or a spaceship. Probably a spaceship, right? Star Wars? Or Space Tower. They're fighting in a Death Star. They're fighting in a Death Ship or a Space Star. I don't know where the fuck they are. They could be inside R2's head. I got no fucking clue. I was asleep from the pod race, and I woke up in time for Darth Maul's fight. That's where I was. So they're storming around and they're fighting, and all of a sudden in the middle of their fight, someone gets knocked through like a waterfall, like this doorway, and then a shield goes up between Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn. By the way, if his name is Qui-Gon Jinn, I'm a fucking genius, because I literally saw that movie once and I don't remember. So their fight is interrupted. They have fightus interruptus, folks, because one of them gets knocked through like this space, and then a shield goes up between them, and they can't get at one another. All right? So Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn take two completely different approaches to this break in the action. Qui-Gon Jinn immediately sits down, like crazy Indian Jedi style, and just puts his head down and just kind of meditates. Thinking about fighting, or thinking about, I don't know, fucking Jedi girls. I don't know what the fuck he's thinking about. All I know is he just immediately sits down and he closes himself off, and he just goes within himself and he meditates and thinks about the fight. Meanwhile, on the other side of the shield, Darth Maul is just pacing back and forth, waiting for the fight to start again. He's pacing, and he's staring at Qui-Gon Jinn the entire fucking time as he walks back and forth, back and forth. Well, I got news for you, folks. In the bank that day, free range teller was Qui-Gon Jinn, and I was goddamn Darth Maul, and I just paced back and forth, and I owned the whole floor. Because I took big strides and I ate up a ton of floor. Whenever I would walk, it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pivot, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pivot, and I had my earbuds in, and I couldn't hear anybody, but I would look up when I would walk away from her. I wouldn't look, but when I would walk back toward her, I would just stare right at her. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, stare at her, and then pivot and go back the other way. And I know she was waiting for me to break the 5 steps, because 2 more steps and I would have been right there on her. But I just went 5 steps, and all it took was me to pace once and then come at her once, and then she immediately she backed away, like she just walked away super slow, like she wasn't trying to be noticed. But I could see her staring at me, and her face got like totally worried. She was really freaked out, and even the tellers have stopped to like look at me at this point. And I look, dudes, I'd like to pretend that I didn't care or I didn't think it was awesome, but it was fucking awesome. If there had been a guard in the bank, he would have had his hand on his gun. That's how fucking scary I was. And I'm wearing like cargo shorts, but it didn't fucking matter, because I got earbuds in, and I'm big, and I'm just a big dude, and I'm fucking pacing back and forth, and I mean, like I said, I've been told I'm moody. I've been told I can be a black cloud. I mean, I've talked about it on here before. When I had to talk with Pardo once, and he was just like, there are times you walk in a room and nobody wants to talk, like because they don't know what you're going to do or where you're at. That was news to me. Like I didn't realize. He said that even when I would show up with a room full of my friends, they would all kind of look at one another like, "Yep, it's that Mike." You know what I mean? And I didn't think I was ever doing that. I mean, certainly consciously I didn't plan on it. I was me. But it's funny. I mean, Jill says it to me, and I don't see it happening really. But Jill says I'm moody, and she's like, you really. I mean, it's like this weird sea change, and it's a 180 where you're one way, and then all of a sudden you're another way, and I don't. I guess I'm trying to fix it, or I don't. But how do you fix what you don't know is broken?
Well, it's broken now.
I guess they say so, but I don't know when it's happening, because I don't feel the change. I mean, like in the bank, there was a fucking change. I decided to be that guy. That was on purpose. But in real life, I don't consciously decide to shift gears and go black on everybody and go black cloud. I don't. It's not a conscious decision. I mean, I guess it just sort of happens, or I've talked about this on here before. I think there was an interview I read with Ozzy Osbourne. Years ago, and this is before he turned into the cartoon version of Ozzy Osbourne, and he said, he was talking about alcoholism and all that stuff, and he goes, it's the only way I can turn him off. And they were like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, him. And they said, well, what are you talking about? He goes, him inside me. I have to control him. And I read that, it's got to be 20 years ago. And I think I cut it out of the paper. Like I was just like, yeah, I know exactly what the fuck that means. But I don't sit there and I don't. That's the problem. I don't know when he comes out. You know what I mean? I don't have any. I mean, I guess I have control on it to a certain extent. And maybe sometimes I don't really care too much to control it, and I don't fucking care if it comes out. But I don't know. I'm. This is ostensibly what I'm trying to fix. But there's also power in that. And it's scary to give that up. You know, I don't want to be a guy wearing a sweater and just walking around whistling and everything's okay and I get fucking run over by everyone and I don't ever stick up for myself, or I don't ever have the wherewithal or it's funny. This is this is the thing that I find when I'm in therapy, because you know, you say you're trying to change, you're trying to be different, you're trying to be better, you're trying to be all those things, but I mean, but sometimes, fuck better, fuck better. Honestly. Because I want to be, but I think I am a good person. Fuck, and you guys don't care, and you don't want to hear me coin flip the shit out of this goddamn show and talk about whether I'm a good person or I'm not a good person. Who cares? Nobody. But it's just there's moments where you it's scary to give up the thing you've always been. It just is. It doesn't mean I won't, and it doesn't mean I'll stop trying. But every once in a while, it's pretty fun to put the mask back on. Or take the mask off. So I made a decision to be scary in the bank. And I paced and I walked, and when I say that there's power in it, it's because everybody knew I was there and nobody knew what the fuck I was going to do. And you could see them, because again, I think of me as me. I'm you. You're me, we're us. Oh my God, what the fuck am I, the walrus? You're goddamn right I am. Holy shit. What I mean is I'm just a guy. I'm just a dude. I'm nobody special. I'm just a fucking guy. But even as just a fucking guy, you can use whatever you have at your disposal to carve out moments for yourself. To use what you have to make yourself special just for a second. And not even special. There's fame and there's infamy. There's something to be said for infamy. So I made the decision to use my physicality, and the only thing really that I had at my disposal at that moment was my rage, and I decided to make my presence felt. Because enough of this glad handing, enough of this we're all in this together bullshit. You know what? You're a bank, and don't pretend that you're my friend, even as an entity or as a person or whatever the fuck. I wanted to just make it very clear that I was the fly in the bowl of cereal. I had no fucking interest in playing nice. So I did. I fucking paced back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And with every pivot, with every turn, it was funny. All right, so like when I would walk toward her, she would be there, and then I would walk away, and then I'd walk, and she'd be further away from me, and then I'd walk, and then I'd turn around, and she'd be further away from me, and then like the fourth time around, she's meeting with two people from the bank, and they're kind of huddled over by the fucking thing, wondering what to do about me. I could just see it. You could see them wondering, is he going to blow? Is he going to snap? What the fuck's going to happen? Does he work at the fucking post office? What's wrong with this dude? But I wasn't going to stop. I was not, because what are you going to do? Tell me to stop walking? I mean, literally, there was nothing. All I was doing was walking. That's really all. I mean, certainly, I was. Look, I wasn't just walking. I know what I was doing, and there was a difference. All right, there's a difference between Gene Kelly and Pantera when it comes to walking. All right. so, so I decided I was Pantera. That's who I was in the fucking bank. And all I did was I just walked back and forth. That's it. I just whipped up a fucking tsunami of nervousness. That's all I did. There was this underlying current of what the fuck is that guy going to do? And there was a riptide that almost pulled us all out to goddamn sea. And I recognized it. And I was a huge wave and I was rolling, motherfucker. And I was about to fucking steamroll all those goddamn guys. And then finally, I paced, and it seemed like forever, but it was just because the whole sea change and the people in the bank. And then finally, Victor came over from his desk and he looked at me and it was funny. He was another one. As I kept approaching, he kept getting closer to me, and I was like, "Is he going to tell me to stop walking?" He's probably, "You can't. Who's going to tell me to stop walking?" And the thing is, I knew he was coming towards me, but I kept pacing. Like I continued to pace. I continued to do my walking routine because even as he was coming closer to me, I still wanted to establish that I was in firm control of this bank. It's so stupid, so silly, so weird. But I was carving out a moment to feel something. To feel like not a number, not like fucking one dude in a line, not a fucking customer, not somebody else who's just coming in and handing them their money or doing whatever the fuck they want me to do. I was actually kind of taking control of the situation in a weird way. So I walked back and forth. And again, in a childish way, clearly in the most childish way you could ever imagine. That was the adult equivalent of lying down on the mall floor because your mom wants to go to a clothing store. I mean, I recognized that completely. I made it all about me, and I was like, "Hey, notice me," but I fucking did it because I wasn't going to let them have me. So he was approaching me, and I was walking, and then finally the third time around, he's standing there, and I know he's trying to get my attention, and so I take out an earbud, and he was a nice man in a suit, but you could see he had no fucking idea what he was dealing with or what I was about to say. Because they had no clue. And he just went, "Sir, is there something that you need or you want or that I could help you with, maybe?" Just this halting speech and like nervousness, and I almost wanted to say no. Like literally, I almost wanted to go, "Nah, I'm good," and just keep pacing in the bank and fucking scare the shit out of all of them because I'm now the only customer left in the place along with all the goddamn employees. Of course there's something I want. Of course there's something I need. I'm not just in here to fucking exercise, although maybe I am. Maybe I was catching up my pedometer. Maybe that's what I was doing. And so what I decided to do, and I knew I was going to do it anyway because when I decided to be Darth Maul in the pacing, I knew that once someone finally came to help me, I was going to be fucking C-3PO. Like, I was just going to be totally nice. Like, so he's like, "Can I help you with anything? Did you want something? Is there anything you might need or anything you would want?" And I'm just like, "Absolutely. You know what? I'd like to get a safe deposit box." And he goes, "Well, I can just sign you up at my desk for that." I go, "Great, let's do that. Just lead me over there." I just completely vomited kindness all over this guy at this point to where, because it diffused the situation because he thought they were all scared. And then when I sat down, I'm like, I was me and I was fun and I was interesting. And he's like, "All right, we'll get you a safe deposit box." And I said, "Hey, I have a favor to ask." He said, "What is it?" I go, "Can I pick my own number?" And he said, "What?" And I said, "Can I pick my own number?" He goes, "Well, why?" And I go, "Because I like numbers. There's some numbers I like that are fancy or lucky and they mean something to me." He's like, "No, I'm sorry. We have a whole chart and it's bank information. And so I have to go in and see what's available." And look, I go, "Well, why can't you just see what's available and then give me a choice of numbers and I'll pick one?" And he said, "Well, I'm sorry. It's kind of bank policy that we only have numbers and charts that mean something to us." I said, "I don't even know what that means." He goes, "Well, because he pulls out the sheet and the safe deposit box numbers, there's like, they have like 40 in a string of numbers. And that was the thing is all I wanted was number 40. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to pick, I'm dumb, so I wanted to pick something that meant something to me. Or like I wanted to pick 1119 or like there's all these different numbers I wanted to pick. And he wouldn't let me. And I was mad, honestly. So I should have just got him started pacing on his desk. "Give me a number I want." But instead he went in there and he found a box for me. And I forget which one. I think I'm in 836. And I just told you all my safe deposit box number. I don't know why. Although you don't know the branch. And you got to get in. You got to get past all the levels of security, right? But he told me, he goes, "Yeah, it's a real small box." I go, "Well, that's fine. I only have to put in this envelope of stuff." And then I get in there. And dude, even the envelope didn't fit. So I had to take everything out of the envelope and then scatter it inside there. And it's so funny, they don't even ask like what goes in there, so they don't even know that I put my cat's ashes in a goddamn safe deposit box. They had no idea. But they can't really. So that's what I did. And I went in there and I had to hide. And I'll tell you this. Then when I got into the little safe deposit box house and then I put my stuff away and I have to double lock it. They have a key. I have a key. And I put it away. And then when I walked out, just the relief that I wasn't there to kill everybody in the bank. led them all to basically line up and pat me on the back and pretend like I was their best friend in the history of banks. Like they just, oh my gosh, sir, thank you. How'd you like your safe deposit box? Are you happy? Are you satisfied with our customer service? Feel free to stay. And all of them, I had to say hi and shake hands with everybody. It was like I was getting bon voyage, like I was getting on the fucking boat and they were all waving at me. I mean, it was like just, hi, yeah, no, good, I'm fine, thanks. And it's funny, I've been going to this bank 17 years, 18 years. So they know me. I'm there all the time. And they've had a turnover of tellers. I mean, there were tellers I knew all along, and then they wound up at different branches. So these people kind of knew me, but then when they saw me do that, because they've known really fat me, and now they know me, like weird me. But they were so relieved that I wasn't there to murder everybody that they all basically lined up and like, oh, thank you, sir, thank you so much, thank you. I'll come again, please come again. I'm like, yes, I will. The only one who wouldn't was free range teller. She stayed away from me. Like I freaked her out. I think honestly, I was shaking hands and waving to everybody, and they put me on their shoulders, and I did this thing around over and I was very happy. And then I looked over and I saw her. She was just sitting on the customer couch, breathing into a paper bag. I think that's what she was doing too. Because I had freaked her out in such a way that I don't even know if she's still there. I haven't been in the bank since, but I can't imagine that she's out she's like, I will not be free range teller anymore. Put me in the teller house. I will not be out amongst those savages. Scared to death. But you pick your moments. I'm trying to make me go away, but I can't let me go completely away. Because again, I don't know if I'm going to be some fucking Mr. Rogers, dude. And it's funny, in therapy, I'm told that it's not black and white. It's not one or the other. You don't have to be like a raving lunatic or a completely silent, quiet guy. You don't have to be a tough guy or a pussy. You can just be you. But the problem is I don't know who that is. I'm the guy who doesn't want to be either of those things. I've gone to extremes my whole life. But now I don't want to do that anymore. But then who am I? Who am I, the middle? I don't want to be the fucking middle. The middle is awful. Not really. I guess the middle's okay. You don't get noticed much in the middle. Someone's got to buy turkey sandwiches. That's the guy in the middle. Before I went out of town last week, I was supposed to work a double on Tuesday. Been working a lot. I'll tell you this, last week we, Lily and I, we were going to record, and then Lily wound up, as I mentioned last week, she had some responsibilities, and I had mine. I was getting on a plane. And so we couldn't come together to do the show last week, so we had to figure out another plan, and I was talking to David about it, and David had a great idea. It's just I didn't have the time to execute it. I wanted to, but I just didn't and couldn't, and I felt badly about it. So before I got on the plane, I had to work a double on Tuesday because I wound up working 52 hours in 4 days, I think, which is fine. We all do that. Everybody does that. But I find myself slipping away a little bit into that because, I settle. You guys know that about me. I settle for stuff. So I find myself settling for working long shifts and trying to make as much money because I'm trying to stay alive, pay bills. The middle. And I have to stop doing that. I don't have to stop paying bills and I don't have to stop staying alive, but I got to find a balance. And the thing that's funny to me is the balance to me is to be one or the other extreme. You would think the balance would be the guy in the middle. But I've lived my whole life either hiding under the coats or burning shit down, that those are the things that are acceptable to me. That's reality. That's where I need to be. I need to be one of those two, and then everything's fine. But in truth, that's when it's not fine. And that's the things I'm trying to tell my head. So I was supposed to work a double on Tuesday, and I was pretty gassed. And so I was on a plane early Wednesday morning, and I still had stuff to do, clean my house and laundry and just prepare to go out of town. So I called a guy, a driver, and I said, "Hey, you want to cover my shift tonight? It's not a big deal." Because I'll tell you what, I also feel badly about giving away money. I don't want to. I can't. I really can't. You guys are all in the same boat. You can't give away $1. You can't give away a dime. You can't give away an hour, because later on, when you need that money, or you find yourself in a position where you're short, you remember that you made the choice to go out on a school night, and you want to bone on yourself. And I don't want to be that guy. I'm not tired of the chase. Fuck it, I'm tired of the chase. And I guess we all are. I'm just 47 and feeling it a bit. And I don't mean to. I'm not moaning to you guys. I'm not whining. I think you guys know how I feel, and I think you guys feel the same way. There are just those moments where you wake up and you just go, Jesus, again? This again? This fucking walking around and being ambulatory and breathing? Fuck, this again? Are you kidding me? I gotta get in that car and drive through that canyon and bring people their fucking coleslaw again? I'm supposed to be doing something else, right? Think I was. But then you get all wrapped up in staying alive. So I was supposed to work the double on Tuesday, and I called the guy, and he's a good guy. He responded right away, and he's like, yeah. Well, actually, I should say I contacted 2 guys before him, and they were unavailable. And again, I wasn't really panicked about it. I mean, I knew what I was going to do. I would have been out of work and gotten home by 11, and then I would have had to be on the plane or at the airport by 5. And our friend Erica, who's a lovely woman and a great friend, she is very nice, and she takes me to the airport. She calls it her donation to the show, and it doesn't matter what time, fucking 4 in the morning, midnight, 7 in the morning, middle of the day. If I ask, she says yes. And I am so grateful to her, and it is so nice of her to do those things for me. So she would have been at the house at 5, and I would have just gotten home from work at 11 and done the things I needed to do overnight, and then met her. I just wouldn't have been able to sleep, and not like I was going to sleep anyway, but who the fuck knows? I just wanted to allow myself that breathing room, that cushion, because just in case. Just in case. So I asked this third person to cover my shift, and he said yes. He's a good guy. And so that was pretty cool, because that feeling, and then I think you guys may know, you ever work a half day at work, and it just feels like it's like last day of school. Every Friday can be like that. Every Friday at 2 in the afternoon, you get that feeling where you're like, fuck, 3 hours and I'm out of here for 3 days. Who the fuck cares? Probably not 3 days. You'll probably have to go back in on Monday, unlike myself. Or 2 days. You get the night. Friday night counts as a day, right? Because you get Friday night off, you get Saturday, you get Sunday, you own it. So you get that weird vibe, that weird feeling in your head. You're like, you know what, fuck it, last day of school. And I knew also that I was getting on a plane to see the woman I loved, who I don't get to see nearly enough of, which made it even more of a last day of school. I might have been graduating. I mean, it wasn't just, last day of the week. So I knew I only had to work the day shift, and we got hammered. But I didn't care, because again, every dime I makes up for the fact that I gave away that shift that night. And don't think I didn't think every second about giving away the shift that night, because I knew what I had coughed up, and I knew what I had lost, and I was disappointed in myself. But you know what? Fuck it. I just needed it. I needed it, because I needed to get stuff done, because I had to go in the morning and live life, and not just let life happen to me. So I was working, and my shift started at 11:30, but I get there a little early. Covered my shift. Took like 4 deliveries. I'm an hour and a half into my shift. So it's 1. I'm leaving at 2, or whenever we take deliveries right up until 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So if anyone calls at 1:59, I take it. And again, I'm a fucking mercenary, so I don't care. Doesn't matter. It's $4 more for me. $4 more I won't need to worry about having at the end of the month. By the way, that was me crumbling up $4 and throwing it on the ground. So I'm in my car. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I know I have an hour left. And I'm driving and it's hot. It was hot by the beach. It's like 88 degrees, which is really hot for by the beach. I got caught in some school traffic, which I didn't understand at like 1. It made no sense, but I don't know if it was just like they had an activity bus, whatever the fuck. All I know is I got caught in this loop because I was trying to avoid main streets and I wound up on a side street and wound up getting caught in school traffic, which is awful. Awful, as you know, because a lot of you have children. And you know there's that cadre of parents who line up 2 hours before their kids get out so they can get home faster. I don't know what the fuck you're doing there. Dude, you can just get out of my way. Get out of my way. It's fucking Travis Barbecue. Get out of his way. So I'm sitting in the heat, trying to get through the school traffic. And the engine light in my car comes on. And look, you've lived this with me before. You know that this keeps happening with regularity, and there's nothing new about it. And yet every time it happens, it's new. It's that fucking gut punch. And it's intensified at this time because, like I said, it's hot out and I'm sitting in traffic. I'm trying to get through side streets. The engine light comes on. And I have no idea what it could be. You know, there's no picture of a frowny face. There's, you know, although I will tell you this, I know it's not good news. There's no picture of a smiling face either. Very rarely does service engine soon come on, and then you pop the hood, and a hand hands you a bouquet of flowers. Aw, thanks. For me? See, that's cool. Car dealers should do that. No, service engine soon is always bad. Always bad. And as you know, I mean, what was it? 2 months ago? I put another fucking $600 in. I don't know. I don't know, dude. I don't fucking know. I have no idea. All I know is that the service engine soon light came on, and it's the last day of school. So now I have like an hour's left of work, and then I have to get home in afternoon traffic. And then I still have errands to run. Like I still got to go to the bank. I got to go mail stuff, merch, and it's just. But when that light comes on, it just burns itself into the fucking prefrontal lobe of your brain because that's all you can think about at that moment. It's just I'm just hoping. I'm hoping because I don't know what the fuck is wrong. I'm not a man. I don't know anything about cars. I'm lucky my car doesn't need a key in the ignition because I would just fucking forget it. No, I can just turn my car on keyless ignition. They invented it for me because I'm lazy and dumb and don't know anything about fucking cars. So I just stare at it and there's kids and there's traffic and there's people and I got the windows down and the air on still a little bit and I didn't fucking care. I saw the engine soon light on and as you know, I just screamed fuck at the top of my lungs for as long as I possibly could. Like it was that thing where you're like, fuck. I mean, and I can't even do it because I'll blow my throat out. But it didn't stop me from doing it then with kids and parents all over the place. And like I said, my windows were down a little bit, but I had the air on, but it didn't, I mean, I was heard. Let's put it that way. I was heard. Even in a closed car, because you saw everybody turn and look at me. Even the crossing guard looked at me and I was just, because I didn't know what to do. I was fucking furious. Because again, it's the hassle and the money and I'm supposed to be on a plane and what am I going to do with my car? It's this variable that you can't deal with. And you guys, again, you know, I don't own a house, but I can't imagine what would happen if the hot water heater went out at fucking 2 a.m. What would you do? It's like when Max's basement flooded. He told me about that and I have no touchstone for that. I don't know how I would deal. I might just sob. I mean, you think the basement is flooded? Well, it's certainly no match for the living room that's going to be flooded with my tears as I cry, trying to think about what the fuck I'm going to do about the flooded basement. Honestly, I would just try to run away, run away. Like, and literally, I say that I either hide under the coats or I burn it down. If my basement flooded, it would literally be the choice of either I go upstairs and hide under the coats or I burn my house down. Like that would be the choice. So engine light comes on, and I'm still trying to hump through traffic. There's crossing guards, and now, I mean, it's just this race against time. So I get to work. There's deliveries. And that's the thing, is I have to take the deliveries, and when I take the deliveries, I have to either leave my car running and hope that nothing bad happens, or I can turn it off and hope that it starts again. And sometimes you don't have a choice. You have to turn your car off. And I did, and every time I did, it was a fucking coin flip, and every time I fucking freaked out, and every time I went to turn the ignition, I was grateful that it started. So, I just wanted the work day to end, and I took like 4 more deliveries between 1 and 2, and then at 1:50, someone else called, and they were 4 miles away, and it's just, 4 miles doesn't seem like a long way until you have to do it through city traffic, bringing somebody a big tin of potato salad. It just turns into a mess. So, and again, that's my job. That's my lot in life. That's what I've done to myself. That's my fault. That's my fault. I've wound up doing that because of the choices I've made, and I have to deal with that, and that's fine. So I hop back in the car at 1:50, and the main thing was I wanted to get on the road home, because I was, I'm all the way down by the beach, and I got to get back to the valley through traffic. I didn't want to be in afternoon traffic on the 405 with the fucking engine light on. I couldn't handle it. Or on cold water, even worse. If I take cold water over to go to my house and then the fucking engine dies there, well, good luck getting any kind of fucking roadside assistance in the canyon. And again, this is just life. It's just, I would like to live it instead of having it happen to me. That's all. But again, my fault. So I take the last delivery, I come back, I finish the checkout paperwork, I grab some lunch, I get in the car, and I drive home, and I hope. And I hope that I'll make it. Now, last time the engine light came on, I actually drove on it for like 5 days. I was like, all right, must be nothing wrong. Maybe it's just, maybe it just wanted to make its presence felt. Hey, don't forget about me, the service engine soon light. You don't show me the love that you show the radio. Well, look, I like the radio. I don't care so much for you, service engine soon light, although you are very pretty. I won't lie. You're very orange and very attractive, however. So I drive, and I make it through the canyon. And it seems to be fine. The car's running fine. That's always the mystery of the service engine soon light. You don't know what's wrong. You don't know what you're dealing with. Could the car explode at any moment? It could. Why don't they put that light in the dashboard? Imminent explosion ahead. See, that I would understand. There's nothing vague about imminent explosion ahead. Service engine soon? That's almost like a polite suggestion. And again, like I said, it could mean anything. It could mean, hey, dude, you need transmission fluid. Or it could mean, hey, there's a live cobra living in your carburetor. I have no idea. Your cobra-ator. Liquor, I hardly knew her. A cobra-ator. All right, so stupid. So I make it through the valley. I get to my house. And I immediately, by the way, I texted my guy at the dealership. And you know what's funny is after all the bullshit that happened with the car before, you guys were all like, hey, maybe your guy at the dealership isn't exactly a good guy. Like, but I'm telling you, if I had to deal with anybody else, it would be a nightmare. Like he remember I told you when they stole all the change out of my fucking car and then he comped like the repairs. I mean, he looks out for me and I trust him. And that's all that matters, really. You guys have out-of-the-way mechanics or fucking grocery guys or blacksmiths that you trust. I still have not found a trustworthy blacksmith. So I leave, idiot. Yeah, dumb. So I make it home and I text him and I tell him, I go, look, the engine's soon later. Then I go, but here's the problem. I'm on a plane at 6 in the morning. I get up at the airport at 5. And I still have a ton of errands to run. So can I bring the car in? I know you guys close at 7. Can I bring the car in and then, because he wasn't in. That was the whole deal. He was not working. I said, can I leave it for you to look at tomorrow? And then I'll text you from Wisconsin. And he said, absolutely. I will look at it first thing in the morning. I said, great. Now I just have to hope it makes it to first thing in the morning. So I got home. I gathered my stuff together to go to the bank, went there, took care of business. This was a different bank, by the way, than the Darth Maul bank. Because, look, I got accounts all over town, folks. So I went to that bank, and then I went to go mail some merchandise. And everything seemed to be fine. I get to the dealership. I made it. I made it to the dealership. And the thing is, all I need to do is I need to get a lift home from the dealership. So I get there at 5:45. They close at 7. And I say, look, I'm just dropping the car off for my guy. And he'll look at it in the morning. The guy said, great, no problem. I said, who do I visit? He goes, go inside the lobby. They'll take care of you. So I go in the lobby and I said, hey, excuse me, can I get a ride from the shuttle? They said, oh, the shuttle stops at 5. And I said, well, that doesn't make any sense. I thought you guys were open till 7. He goes, yeah, we're open till 7, but the shuttle stops at 5. I said, well, why is that? So people who bring their car in at 5 or after they're just stranded here? They're dicks? Like, you just don't care about them? And because it genuinely made no sense to me. I mean, you have guys there and you have cars. Have somebody fucking drive me home. And he said, well, and they were very nice. They weren't mean about it. And he even was puzzled by the policy a little bit. He's like, yeah, we just stop at 5. I said, well, that seems kind of ridiculous. And I was told by Melvin that if I brought my car in, and he goes, what'd you say? I said, well, I texted Melvin and he told me to bring the car in and it wouldn't be a problem. You guys would take care of me. He goes, oh, you talked to Melvin? I said, yeah. And he goes, well, I'll tell you what, sit down and let me see what I can do. So I took some of their free popcorn and I sat down. And this guy hustled. He started calling people and making phone calls and paging people, and people would come in, and it took like 40 minutes. It took till about 6:30, and then finally he looked at me and he goes, hey, we have this guy Terry, and he's going to take you home. I said, great. Was Terry gone for 40 minutes? He goes, no, we had to get somebody who was finally done working where they're going to, and I go, well, I don't want to put anybody out. He goes, no. He goes, you talk to my boss. And if my boss said to take care of you, then I'm going to take care of you. I said, all right. So I got taken home. And then I had to pack and get ready for my trip. Got picked up by Erica. Taken to the plane. Met a famous guy in the airport. I'll tell you that. It was funny. I texted Jill and I go, met a famous guy in the airport. And I go, but you won't think he's famous. So I wasn't even going to tell her who it was. But I got in the security line. And again, it's 5 in the morning, 4:45. And I'm in the security line. And he came up the escalator. And I knew immediately it was him. But it's one of those things where other people wouldn't know. Like, a football fan might recognize Rob Gronkowski because they know him from watching him on TV or whatever the fuck. I mean, in Boston, he'd be a huge celebrity, but like anywhere else, it is a bad analogy. This is a terrible analogy. Fuck, I met a famous guy. You might not think he's famous. Who cares? But he's very distinctive looking. And the second I saw him, he came up the escalator. It was Chuck Liddell, who is probably one of the greatest UFC fighters of all time, UFC Hall of Famer. He comes up the escalator, and he's got his head down, and he's with his girl. He dates this little blonde girl. She's like 5 feet tall. And he comes walking by, and he's just kind of zombified because it's morning time. And he kills me because he just travels in sandals and shorts like it's ridiculous. Because, his whole job was fucking basically he was barefoot his entire life. So why not? He puts on sandals. He's formally dressed as far as Chuck's concerned. But he came around the corner to get into the same security line as me. And I won't – look, I really wanted to take a picture with him. because he's very distinctive looking. And the second I put the photo up, everyone like, whoa, because he has a mohawk. Lily, you might recognize him. He's in commercials now where he's running around. If you saw him, you go, oh, maybe I know that guy. But I didn't want to bother him because he was with this girl. So instead, he came walking right by me, and he was kind of like zombie, and he's like looking down. But then when he got right close to me, I had to, and I just went, Chuck. I said it soft. I didn't say it loudly. But the funniest thing is he's such a celebrity. Like, he's got that thing where it's ingrained in him where he's like, oh, I got to get in the security line. He's being himself. But the second somebody says his name, the light bulb goes on, and he looks up, and he's Chuck Liddell. He knows that his job is being Chuck Liddell. So sure enough, he goes walking through, and he goes to walk past me, and I go, Chuck, like kind of under my breath. And he looks up and like with a smile, and he's like, hey, man. And I just put out my fist, and I was just like, big fan. And I got a fist pound from him, and he was just like, hey, all right. And he went in the back of the line. And then I saw him later on on the terminal, and I wanted to. And again, if he wasn't with his girl, I would have totally jogged him for a photo. Just because putting that photo up would have been awesome. Because it's come on, it's Chuck Liddell. But it was worth meeting him. And I'll tell you what, he was the light heavyweight champ, and but he's big. I mean, he's as tall as I am, maybe a little taller. I was kind of shocked. I thought, I didn't anticipate him to be that big. He was big in person. But I mean, I guess I should, he was 6'2", 205 when he fought, but he's probably about 220 now, 225 he walks around at. I don't know. I lifted him up and I weighed him. We jumped on a scale together because we're friends. So I flew to Wisconsin, and I went, and that was all I wanted to do. I was happy. So Wednesday comes and goes, and I don't hear anything from Melvin about my car, and I didn't want to be a pest about it. And this is the dumbest thing in the world, that attitude. I didn't want to be a pest about what? It's my fucking car. Fix it. You know what I mean? It's like I didn't want to text him because I didn't want to go, hey, man, what's up with my car? What's up? I didn't want to be a pest. Like, what the fuck do you mean you don't want to be a pest? You dropped it off for them to fix, and you're going to pay for it. They're performing a fucking service. Yeah. So I let Wednesday come and go. Didn't hear from him. Thursday afternoon, Jill and I are out. And we had plans, and then they got scotched, and we wound up, I think it was Thursday that we were hungry, and we happened to be in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, which I know sounds like something Jerry Lewis would say if he hit his hand with a hammer, but it's a real town. Sheboygan! So we were looking for somewhere to eat, and she said she had a friend there who knew something about good hamburgers in town, so she called him, and he recommended this pub, and then we found it, and we sat down, and they were super cool. And I'll tell you what, of course it's a pub, because it's fucking Wisconsin, and the entire town is fucking booze-soaked. I mean, it is crazy. Like, I think the whole state should be a non-smoking state, because if you strike a match, there's a good chance the whole thing's going up in fucking flames from the booze fumes. I'm not kidding. Jill lives in a small town. I think there's 16 taverns. 16 saloons or taverns in this small town that she lives in. Oh, I apologize. She lives in a big city. No, she doesn't really. It's a small town, but for some reason, they confused it with a big city. So, I mean, we're in Sheboygan, and we go to this pub. And, it's just, people don't think anything at all of being in a bar at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and drinking. Yep. Dude, if you walk in and Days of Our Lives is on the television set, you are drinking too fucking early. Too early. If you want to drink and watch Days of Our Lives, stay home. Be respectable. Open up the cooking sherry and take a couple of nips. Respectable? Seriously. Don't go out in fucking public and be a lush. If you want to stay home and watch your stories and have a couple of fucking shots, go ahead. Have some pops in your own house. But don't fucking venture out into public and watch soap operas while you're drinking and making a guy wait on you. That's fucking brutal. But all the bars are fucking open. That entire town is booze-soaked, man. I mean, it is crazy. We went to a thing. All right, I'm not going to get into that. That's a story. I'll fucking tell you that. You know what? All right. We went to a fucking festival called Fish Days. I'll tell you about that next week. All right, so we go to Sheboygan, we go to this tavern, and they give us the menu, and we had heard they had good hamburgers. Well, on the back of the fucking menu, they're like, here's the Frankie's Pub Challenge. And I got to be honest with you, Just being in a pub at 1 o'clock in the afternoon seems like a challenge to me. But then they heap an eating contest into it, and they have a 5.5-pound hamburger. And it's built like a Big Mac. So there's bun on top, bun on the bottom, and bun in the center. 2 12-ounce patties. 1.5 pounds of bacon.
Jesus Christ.
And then various fucking sundry condiments and vegetables and whatever the fuck else they could put on there with a snow shovel. I mean, it was crazy. It looked like Uncle Buck made it. It was gigantic. And Jill immediately goes, you know what? I think I could do this. And I'm like, you are a crazy person. Because I will admit this, she can put it away. I mean, like when she wants to eat, she can eat. But then she'll eat like 5 bites of something and she'll go, I've never been so full in my entire life. I can't move. And I'm like, you're going to eat the 5.5 burger pound challenge? Are you kidding me? But it's because, you know what? It's not even about the fact that she could eat. It's like she's just pissed that someone would have the audacity to challenge her to eat a hamburger. Like, I mean, she's not. I don't think she had any interest in finishing the challenge. She doesn't have any interest in eating the full burger. I don't even think in her heart of hearts she thinks she can eat the burger. But she's like, you know what? A challenge? Fuck you, man. I'll take on that challenge. And then she'll spend $30 for a hamburger and just stare at it. Because I know that there's no way she could finish it in a billion years. She's been in like jalapeno eating contests because she eats like really hot, spicy food. Like we have ghost pepper popcorn at my house and she'll eat it. I don't know how she does it, but she can power through spicy food, like really. And, but you know, this isn't 5.5 pounds of spicy food. I mean, this burger, I'm waiting for Fred Flintstone to pull up so they can put it on his car and it'll tip over. That's how big this fucking hamburger is. So, and by the way, that's a reference I don't think anybody gets anymore. You and I were talking earlier about a guy and he kept mentioning Uncle Fester. And I'm just like, nobody knows who the fuck that is. No one at all. Nobody. All right. So we open up the menu and they've got hamburgers and cheeseburgers and stuff. And we're like, and she fucking, it made me laugh because she's like, I could do that 5.5 pound burger challenge. I'm like, no, you can't. I go, you have to do it by yourself. And then I'll have to get my own lunch and that'll be horrible. So then we open up the menu and she goes, we're splitting something, right? And I go, yes, we are. We're splitting something. A second ago, you wanted to eat a fucking 5.5 pound hamburger. Ridiculous. So we order a hamburger and they had a fucking, and again, it comes with 5 slices of bacon on it. All right. Which is a lot. And then they have a sign and it says, add 3 fried eggs to your hamburger for $2. Well, that seems like 2 eggs and $1 too many, right? I mean, how about you put 1 egg on there for $1? How about that? So I read that sign and I'm just like, what the fuck? So the guy comes over and we're like, all right, we just want the Frankie burger. We're going to split it. There's $1 charge to split their plates. And then they had homemade onion rings and then they had French fries with like a crispy seasoning coating on it. And we're like, and Jill's like, I go, what's better, the onion rings or the fries? The guy goes, well, they're both really good. And Jill's like, 1 of each. I'm like, all right. An order of rings, an order of fries. And then she goes, and the hamburger. And then we wanted raw onion, we wanted grill onion on it, and it came with sauteed mushrooms and beef gravy and fucking Swiss cheese. And like, I mean, it was just, and then the bacon. And then the guy, I said to him, I go, hey, so we want the eggs. Because Jill's never had a fried egg on a hamburger. I said, you have to have it. I go, and she's like, fried egg on a hamburger? I go, fried egg on every sandwich. So the guy comes in, I go, look, can we just get like 1 egg on our burger? We don't need 3. And I'm not kidding, deadpan face. He just goes, oh yeah, you need 3 because it covers the whole burger. Like, what do you mean? And he goes, yeah, you need 3 to cover all the area of the whole burger. 1's not going to do it. All right, my man, bring us 3 eggs. Sounds good. Do me a favor, bring me some lunch and throw some breakfast right on top of it. That'd be fantastic. 3 eggs, 5 pieces of bacon. I essentially got a lumberjack slam on top of my moons over my hammy. That's what I got. So he brings, we're talking and we wanted raw onion, grill onion, and all this stuff and the mushrooms. And he comes over and he brings over the fries and the onion rings. And then he says, oh, you got our cook all confused. And we're like, why? And he goes, well, he doesn't know how he's going to build that burger. We're like, all right, I don't know what that means, but good for him. I would imagine with a bun on the bottom and a burger in the middle. That's what I would do with. So Jill and I, we get the onion rings and stuff. And I think, what did I get? Did I get some ginger ale? I don't know. And we're talking. And I should tell you this. It's called Frankie's Pub. When you open the door, they have a mannequin sitting in a chair, like right by the front. And he's Frankie. That's him. He's got a cigar in his hand. We opened the door, and both of us were like, "Ah!" Like we both jumped because of this freaky-looking mannequin at the front door in a bowler hat and a white suit. It looked like a skinny Boss Hogg mannequin. That's exactly what it looks like. And he's their mascot. And I said to Jill, I go, how many front yards has he wound up in the middle of the fucking night, of course? You know, people just fucking gank him out of here. Just awful. So we're sitting at it's the bar tables. There's no booths. It's those tall tables. Oh, Christ. And Jill, she grew up there. And she's sick of it. Like, because I talked to her and she's just like, people are in the bar at like 10 in the morning. And she's bewildered by it, like because she's lived there and she's hung out with people and gone to bars and done it, and she's so finished with it, like she wants nothing to do with it. But that's where because that's where they serve lunch. We're like, all right, well, that's Frankie's Pub. It's a good burger. Let's go there. And I walk in and I'm just like, the ghost of my father just lurking over my shoulder at all fucking turns. So we're talking and we hear the kitchen door swing open and the guy comes around and he's got two hands holding a plate. And I went, oh my God, Jill. And she looks up, and this guy comes walking over with the Death Star of hamburgers. I mean, honestly, I lifted the bun up to see the bacon, and there was Darth Maul pacing back and forth, waiting for Qui-Gon Jinn to stand up and fight him again. It was it was fucking gigantic. Gigantic. You ever see the Brown Derby restaurant? That's what they brought me with a hamburger in it. I mean, it was just that fucking huge. And I'm staring at it, and I'm laughing. And I said, you know what? You got to hold that so I can get a picture of it. Seriously. And so she did. She held it because I had her hold a margarita once that she had, and she looked like a child. She looked like Cindy Lou Who holding a fucking strawberry. I mean, it's like so ridiculous because Jill is tiny. So I asked her to hold the burger, and she held it up, and it was monstrous. It was like she was holding a fucking laundry basket. And I took a couple photos, and then I was like, you know what? I go, let me take a picture holding it. I go, because then it'll look even. Because if it looks big when I'm holding it, then you see how big it is. Because everything looks big to her. Fuck. I mean, Jesus Christ. She could hold a button and you'd be like, oh my God, put down Captain America's shield. She's tiny is what I'm trying to say. So I take the burger and she takes a couple of photos, and we threw one on Facebook where I've got like my mouth open and it's just fucking because I wrote, I go, I don't know whether to eat it or fight it. I have no fucking idea. It's just gigantic. I was waiting for it to sprout legs and run away from me and I have to chase it around the goddamn building. I mean, it was so huge. And sure enough, man, they brought it, and she was all talking about her 5.5 pound burger challenge. And I took a steak knife and I cut it in fours. We cut the burger all the way across, and we cut it all the way across. And she ate a quarter and I ate a quarter, and we were done. This is on Thursday. I flew home Sunday, still in her fridge. The other half, just sitting there mocking us, waiting for us to feed it to her dog. Seriously. And I'll tell you this, it did taste like salt, like a lot of salt. Like, I mean, like a fucking salt lick. Like I felt like a deer. Like someone shot my mom. That's how much of a deer I felt like. Somebody shot my mom in the fucking head off screen. I didn't see it, but I heard it. I knew it was terrible. But it was salty. And I don't know if that's because I don't eat a lot of salt these days. And I'll be honest with you, it was a fucking bar at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. They may have just dropped a margarita glass in the fucking hamburger and I didn't notice it. I mean, I just chewed it up and spit out a bunch of fucking glass blood and salt. But it was, I mean, there was everything else on that fucking burger. But it was good. But the point is we were in shit again. And I texted about my car. And this time, I have, I have Melvin's personal number. And I let him, so I talked to him because I'm very important. And apparently I need to fucking talk to him all the goddamn time. So I texted him on his number on Thursday, and I didn't hear from him again. So now I dropped the car Tuesday night. I don't hear anything on Wednesday. I don't hear anything on Thursday. Wednesday, I didn't contact him, but I contacted him Thursday and didn't hear back, and I thought that was fucking strange. So Friday, I texted him, and I texted the number that the dealership gave me to keep in touch with them about my car, and I called. I texted, and then 2 hours later, I called, and I said, hey, can I talk to Melvin? And they said, sure, hold on. And then they came back and they said, your name? I said, Mike Schmidt. And they found him, and he was not available to take my call. But they said, he assures us that he will call you in the next 10 minutes. And I said, great. That's all I need to know because I'm trying to get ahead of what's happening with my car. You've had it for like 3 days. They said, great. And Melvin does not call me on Friday at all. Texted him again. Didn't hear from him. So Saturday rolls around, and I know they're open. They're not, and the thing is, they're closed on Sunday. So Saturday's my fucking final hope. Saturday's my Hail Mary. And again, I shouldn't be chasing these motherfuckers and playing electronic grab ass trying to figure out what the fuck is wrong with my car. I dropped it on Tuesday. Now it's Saturday. I've called, I've texted, I've heard nothing. And again, I trust this guy and I appreciate all the work that he does for me, but Jesus Christ, if you do not think that I was ready to fucking just hijack a plane and crash it into that fucking dealership, never forget. So on Saturday I texted again, didn't hear from him. And then I this time with a little more bass in my thumbs. I was like, hey, you've had the car 4 days. And here's the thing. I totally recognize what's happening at this point. I'm not a priority. They know I'm not chasing them down. They know that I don't need the car on those 4 days. So they've kind of pushed me back. But I will tell you this. I kept saying to Jill, this is bordering on like 80s sitcom territory where they somehow have misplaced my car and they're trying to find it before my dad gets home. Like that kind of fucking thing. And I can't figure out why they won't just contact me and say, hey, it's okay. Or it's because, I mean, dude, just tell me, even if you said, hey, you know what? We know you're not coming to town until Monday. So, yeah, we kind of pushed it down the list a little bit. I would understand if you just fucking told me. But nobody returns a text. Nobody grabs a phone call. Nobody returns a goddamn call. So now I'm starting to think that some of the dudes from the dealership, instead of stealing the change out of the console of my car, just went out and took a fucking joyride, parked on a pier, it broke, it fell into the water. And then I'm going to have to show up and go, hey, who's the U-boat commander? Pick up a phone, make a fucking phone call, return a text, read my text, anything, smoke signals. I don't give a fuck. Just let me know what the fuck is happening, because I know it can't be good. That was another thing that I thought of. I'm like, they don't want to tell me that not only did they misplace the car, that it'll never run again. It's just fucking a paperweight. Finally, on Saturday, he gets a hold of me, calls me. We're actually in the car driving. I take the call, and the first thing he does is apologize, and I understand that, and then. I said, what's the story? He goes, well, it's not good. And I went, great. And he goes, well, no, it's not bad, but it's not good. It's bad, but it all depends. And I go, what do you mean? What happened? And he said, well, you absolutely need front brakes. And I know I need front brakes because they make that fucking scratchy, squeaky thing every time I stop, and I can feel them grind. But I said, well, that's why the engine light came on? It's because I need brakes? He goes, no, that's the problem. You absolutely need brakes, and you absolutely need 2 front tires. And that makes sense, because I don't think I've put tires on this car since I've owned it. So he's like, yeah, no, the front tires absolutely have to go. I said, wait a minute. I said, why is the engine light? If I need brakes and tires, why the fuck is the engine light on? He goes, well, that's we have to steam clean the engine because it's full of sludge, and you need an oil change, and the sludge was in there and it was starting to bog everything down. So that's what we have to do, because that's $150. And I'm like, why is that bad news? And he goes, well, because the brakes and the tires and everything makes this going to be about $760. $760. Dude. And I just put, what did I, when we did the fucking struts or whatever, that was $1,500. And you guys were nice enough to cough up and help. And it never fucking ends. Never ends. And I understand that. It's not supposed to end. It's a chase. There shouldn't be a finish line. The fuck am I going to do? Sit in my car that doesn't run and smoke a pipe? I can't do that. There's no metal. But you feel it. I feel it. Like I said, when your fucking hot water heater goes out, or your fucking stove doesn't work, or your fridge breaks, or whatever the fuck, anything at all, you just go, God damn it, because it's the hassle and the money, and it's just, we're all chasing the same thing, and it's just money, and it just pays for whatever, and you just do it and you move forward. I say it all the time. You just fucking shark, just move forward. So I wasn't even phased. He told me it was like $750, and I'm like, great, do it, because I happen to have it. Because I was saving up to do something else, but that's fine. If I got to pay for my car, I got to pay for my car. So I just said, do it. He goes, great. I said, will it be ready Monday? He goes, yeah, it should be ready Monday morning. I said, well, let me know if it's not. Do me a favor, text me tonight. just so I know what I'm getting into on Monday because you guys are closed tomorrow. He goes, okay, great. Do you think he texted me Saturday night? Of course he did. So I just assumed to be ready on Monday morning. Had to call an Uber to take me to the dealership at 7:30 because I had to work a double on Monday. And he assured me I'd either have my car or a loaner. So I show up Monday, and there's my car parked right in front of the dealership. And I took an Uber with Grigor because apparently all of the Ukrainian rebels are tired of fighting the Russians and are now driving Uber cars in fucking Los Angeles. Here's something I didn't know about Uber. Did you know that you can rate your driver? I knew that. Did you know your driver rates you? I had no idea. He even said to me, he goes, hey, do you know that they rate the passengers? Grigor, do you know they rate passengers? I'm like, I did not know that. And he goes, well, do you want to know what your rating is? I go, not if it's not good. Grigor could not be less interested. And he goes, you are 4.9. And I said, oh, I guess that hand job I gave that dude in fucking St. Louis worked out great. What? Nothing, Grigor. Don't get any ideas. I only pass out hand jobs for rides in the Midwest. So I get there, and my car is right in the front, and it's gorgeous. They've washed it. And I walk in, and Melvin sees me, and he's like, hey, Jesus. He goes, I'm seeing too much of you. I go, yes, you are. I go, but that's okay. We make up for it by not chatting on the phone. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I really apologize. No problem. That's fine. I go, do I go to the cashier? Yes, I do. So I go in. I pay $7.60 or whatever it was. And I still have to go home and shower and then go to work. Again, I have a double at the beach. Hop in my car, and I start it, and it goes, and starts up. I'm like, that's weird. Usually my car turns over right away. And I drive off, and I go home. And I jump in, and I shower, and I get ready to go, and I hop in the car, and I'm like, well, it wasn't doing that before. And I don't think that has anything to do with the tires or the brakes. But that's okay. I've got to work a double on Monday and a double on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, I have to work a lunch shift. And then I got to do the podcast. So maybe I can come over in between those two because I try to cram every waking hour full of barbecue deliveries because that's who I am. I'm a guy in the middle. So the problem with that is the job that I've carved out for myself, the job that I've chosen, the job where I've wound up, you have to turn your car off all the time. And every time I turn the car off and I go to start it up, and it goes, and it starts. And it's a minimum of 3, and then starts. Sometimes 4, sometimes 5, but it turns over all the time. But I know something's up. I don't know a lot about cars, folks, but I know it's not supposed to do that. So, but it keeps starting and everything seems to be fine. And I get home on Monday night, everything's good. And then Tuesday I wake up and zoom, and go to work. And then I'm turning the car on and off, and I'm driving on Tuesday, and everything seems to be okay. And it does that thing where it's kind of lagging when it turns over. But I know that today is Wednesday. The next day is Wednesday, and I'll be able to wake up in the morning, and I will go to the gym. And then I will go to work a lunch shift, and I'll come here and visit my friend Lily von Stupp, and I'll do a podcast. And in between there somewhere, I will bring in the car. If not, I can go tomorrow, Thursday, because I'm off during the day. So I get up this morning to go to the gym, and it's super early. I have to be at the gym at 8 a.m. because, again, working a lunch shift today. So I get out, and I hop out to the car, and I turn it over, and it goes... That's it. 1, and then 5 clicks, and that's it. No light, no engine light, which I would have loved to have seen at that time. Car's completely dead. Now again, we've all been through this. You know, nobody wants their car to die, but inevitably you have to look at the bright side of it. At least it died at my house, in my carport, and not outside of somebody's house in Venice as I was bringing them a pile of ribs. Because then I would have been completely fucking boned. So I'm up, and I've my trainer texts me, and he's like, "Hey, you know, I'm a little bit in traffic. I'm on my way." And I said, "That's okay. I don't think I'm gonna make it." And I said, "Wait a second. You want to come over to my house and give me a jump?" And he's like, "Sure." Comes over. I let him in. We have to push my car out of the carport spot. And I'm trying not to get mad. I'm trying not to get upset because life is life. But you know, when you put $750 in a car on Monday, you don't expect to be pushing it on fucking Wednesday. And again, I recognize that I've done at least 10 shows on car problems. At this point, it's click, clack, and Mike. But this is what's happening. So, we jump my car, jumps right away. And now it's that precious spark of power that you can't possibly get rid of. You're like, I can't turn the car off, I can't park, I don't want to do anything. So I text Melvin, he's like, bring it in. I show up, and he's like, man, why are you here? And I go, I don't know. I really don't. I said, it wouldn't turn over. It just stopped. It made like 5 clicking noises, and he goes, well, I said, it wasn't doing that before I brought it to you guys. He goes, well, we'll take a look at it. We'll figure it out. He goes, I got a loaner all lined up for you. Just go over to David in the rental, and he'll take care of you. I said, great, because I still got to get to Venice and work. So I go over, and my car's running. I will not turn it off. And the guy's like, you can turn your car off. And I go, no, I can't because it may not start again. He goes, well, it's here now. We'll take care of it. I go, do you really want to jump it or tow it? I go, why don't you just drive it to where it's going to get fixed? Okay, sir. Well, you can go ahead and leave it on then, because they don't want to deal with me, because they can see that some of the threads are fraying. Some cracks in the foundation. So, all of their business is done in these glass cubes. There's these sliding glass doors, and then they sit at their desks. So I walk in, and the rental guy's real cool, and he's used to me by now. He's given me, 5 loaners? He knows who I am. So he helps the woman in front of me, and then I walk in, and there's another woman standing there. And I said, all right, I apologize. Again, that's who I am as a person. I'm apologizing for having to get a fucking rental car for the fact that my car is there to be repaired. I don't know why I'm saying I'm sorry. I've done it my whole fucking life. I need to stop apologizing. I'm tired of it. So I actually apologized to the rental car guy. He's like, no problem, I'll take care of it. And he starts click-clacking and bringing things up and bringing up a thing. He's okay. He says, right now, unfortunately, the only thing I have is a Maxima. So that's what you're going to have to take. And I can't do that because at work I have these gigantic food containers that have to go into the back of my car. And normally those aren't standard issue. But during the day we have corporate buildings that order big lunches, and we need them in the back of the car to keep the food hot. And I know for a fact that when I get to work, I've got at least 2 giant orders, and they have to go in there. So I look at them and I go, oh man, unfortunately Maxima's not going to work. I have to have a Murano, because every time I'm there, Melvin makes sure I get a Murano. Every time I'm there, he steps up and gives me whatever I need, which is really nice of him. And they don't charge me, and I appreciate it. That's great. So I said, man, I really need a Murano. He goes, oh man, I don't have a Murano. I said, okay, well, I can't do a Maxima. I need something bigger, like an SUV, because at my work I really need it. He goes, look, I'm telling you, I have a Maxima. He goes, if you can take a Maxima, that's great. And if you can't, then I don't know what to tell you. And again, he was being very nice about it. He was being businesslike, and he was just trying to process the order because there was another woman behind me, and he's just trying to go bang, bang, bang. And I guess he doesn't want to go look back on the lot and see that he's got 8 million other fucking cars to possibly choose from, and realize the fact that I need to get to a job and I have to have a large container, and that I was just in here on Monday and I paid $750 fucking dollars, and I was just out of state, and I made fucking 8 phone calls and so many texts, and I never heard from them. And all of that is building up inside of me when I'm told basically to take it or leave it. Basically, here, take this or fuck you. That's what I heard. And again, he was being very nice about it, but again, that's all I heard. Take this or fuck you. And I've been hearing that a lot. I think we all hear that way too much. I told you there are moments where I choose to be scary. And then there are moments where scary chooses you. And standing there, having put $750,000 in my car on Monday, dropping it off again and basically being told, well, you know, fuck you. Scary chose me. And I turn around and I headbutted the glass door as hard as I could. I did not care if my head went through it. It was a dumb choice. But it wasn't mine. It was his. And he's still here. So I ran my head as hard as I could into the glass. It felt good. Made a great noise. Scared everybody to death. The woman who was waiting for the other car disappeared. She may have parkoured up the fucking wall. I don't know where she went. Like a cat. Everybody froze. And after a couple of beats, the rental guy's like, well, you know, just let me take a look at what we have. Let me take a look at what we have. I'll be right back. Now, I'm not sure if he was really going to take a look at what they have, or he just wanted to get the fuck out of the office. But he left. And came back and said, you know, I was able to find you a Nissan Xterra. And I said, okay. And then we went out to the car, and I said, well, is it going to fit this thing in it? Because I have no idea what an Xterra is. But I had one of the food containers in the Murano, and I said, hey, is it going to fit this in there? He goes, oh, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. It's no problem. If it's not, we'll get you something that does. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. And then Melvin walked over, and I said, hey, yeah. He goes, did he get your car? I go, I think he got me an Xterra. He goes, well, did you want a Murano? I said, I asked. He said he doesn't have any. He goes, well, the Xterra is big enough. And he goes, and it's if that works, that's great. He goes, but if you need me to find you a Murano, you know I will. And I said, thanks. They pulled up the Xterra, and it was big. It was fine. And it should have been fine. Like it's funny, I said I'm tired of apologizing. I'm tired of doing that. But it's just, you know, you wouldn't have to apologize if you didn't do things that you needed to apologize for. And I say I'm trying to fix things. I'm trying to be better and trying to at least be different. And there's comfort in being the old me, but you know, you can't do that all the time, and it's a scary thought to change things because you wonder if you're gonna. It's even like when losing weight. I thought you feel powerless. I hate feeling like that. I hate it in anything. In that office, there was a flash where I knew it would be stupid and wrong to bang my head into that fucking door, to just smash it. But I didn't. There was also the part of me that didn't fucking care. Didn't care. I talked in here before about punching your hand through a wall. And it's stupid and you know it, but there's that satisfaction you feel of your hand just crunching right fucking through it. Followed by hours of remorse for being stupid and not being able to control yourself. But in that instant, it's pretty fucking satisfying. I was looking for that instant today. I was looking for anything to be satisfying. As I just fucking hemorrhage money that I work fucking 52 hours over 4 days for. And we all do. Everybody does. I'm not fucking unique. I banged my head into that glass door and hoped my head would go through it. I'm glad it didn't. I took a step back. And I felt it. I mean, you could just feel the tension. You could feel everybody freak out. And there's satisfaction in that. Followed by inevitable remorse. I stepped back and I looked at the glass door. And you could see the outline of where my head had hit. Sweat from my forehead. And if I looked beyond that, I could actually see my reflection in the door. And I could see the guys behind me looking at one another like, what the fuck is this guy going to do? And again, there's power in that, but again, remorse. Because you don't want to be looked at like an animal. But I looked beyond the sweat and I saw my reflection in there, and it reminded me of a joke I wrote once. I think it was on Facebook and Twitter. And it was, remember, no matter where you go, there you are. And you are fucking awful. You guys can get me at mike@MikeSchmidtComedy.com. You guys can be my friend at Facebook.com/the40-year-old-boy. You can follow me at Twitter.com/the40-year-old-boy. Our friend David Hernandez does all the music and all of the artwork for this show. Talented man, great friend, and was willing to give you some of that artwork. Probably not give you. You'd probably have to give him some money in exchange for it. But you would have to go to artbydmh.com. That's ARTBYDMH.com. David has worked for over 35 years as an illustrator and making storyboards and creating paintings and just doing amazing, brilliant work. And if you'd like to get some of that from him, go to artbydmh.com, ARTBYDMH.com. You can also be his friend at Facebook.com/David Mex Hernandez. Our friend Lily Von Stupp is the producer of this show and a great friend as well. You can be her friend at Facebook.com/Lily Von Stupp. You can follow her on several different Twitter accounts, Twitter.com/MNTs, Twitter.com/HollywoodBQFest, and of course, Twitter.com/Lily Von Stupp. But if you'd like to write her a personal note and find out just how much she paid for her own personal jingle, you can write her at Lily at burlesque411.com. That's Lily, Lili, at burlesque411.com. Ladies and gentlemen, with a phrase from the past of the 40-year-old boy, please welcome Elvis Costello.
Oh, Kanye West, get off my lawn, get off my lawn, get off my lawn, get off my lawn.
Want to remind you folks about the Monday Night Teas at the 3 clubs on Vine at Santa Monica every Monday night, including this coming up Monday night and also last Monday night. And I happen to know the producer of all of those Monday nights. She is the producer of all of my Wednesday nights. Ladies and gentlemen, please. Why was I going to say ladies and gentlemen, please welcome? Like, all of a sudden I'm in Ringling Brothers. I'm a circus dude. She is our great friend, our producer, and certainly someone that I plan on knowing for the rest of my life. She is...
Sound ominous?
It does. Lily Von Stupp. Hi, Lily. How are you?
Woo! Should I throw my jingle in there?
Let's do it. You know what? If you would, that'd be great.
No.
Why won't you? Dude, that would be totally awesome.
Stupid.
But it's awesome, and then they'll know what I'm talking about. You see that? No, don't tease me, because
I'm
you
gonna
would.
send it to you so you can make it your phone ring when I call you.
I'll do that. I would do that. You know, I would. I got to get rid of the yurt dirt dirt ring. Yurt dirt dirt. It's awesome, but it's just you. The thing I love about it is that it makes people they look at me like, what the hell is happening? And I'm like, yeah, it's a long story. You have no idea what it is, but yeah, it's my phone, and that's me. I'm my own ringtone. I'm Chewbacca. Hi, Lily.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm here.
How? Well, yeah, you're in pain. You're all like your leg and your hip and your knee and your everything else and your bronchioles and your capillaries and your cilia and your lungs. And everything's all messed up. You're a walking bruise, from what I understand. Why am I talking like? I turned into Bing Crosby all of a sudden at the end of the show. How was this past Monday night's tease? Monday's night's tease.
Spectacular.
Was it really?
Yeah, I've had 4 amazing shows in a row. I mean, more than that, really. But the last 4, I've just been like, wow, how did I get these people?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who were there? Who did a great job?
Monday we had Miss Poison Ivory, who won Miss Starlet Hollywood.
I remember her. She's lovely.
She did an act that you would have died for.
Oh, okay. Thanks for telling me now.
She danced to the Cosby theme and ate pudding on stage.
Which Cosby theme? The Cosby Show from the 80s?
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
It was fucking ridiculous.
That's beautiful.
And then stripped and ate pudding, and I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, but you know what? Why didn't she strip to the Bill Cosby theme from the 70s? Because I understand why she did not. I recognize that, but dude, someone needs to do that. Who Lord? It's so fucking great. That would be so awesome. But I'm glad she did that one. That's terrific.
And then Nikita, who won the gold medal for Burley Olympics, and then the silver medal.
You say Nikita like I'm supposed to know. I'm supposed to know who this is.
Project,
oh,
right?
I see. Okay, so she won the gold medal at Burlympics or
At
Burley
the
Picks.
Regional in LA,
Okay.
and then won the silver at the international competition with this act. And she closed the show on Monday, and I mean, every performer was top notch and crazy and amazing. Veronica Kush performed with us for the first time and fucking wiped the stage up. Everything about the night was just amazing.
It sounds fantastic.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hard act to follow this week.
Yeah, actually, it's going to be a very hard show to follow.
But let's talk about this week's show.
Well, this week's show is interesting. I have some of my best friends and amazing performers performing, and they've all been handicapped.
Well, handicapped?
They're doing my acts. So, yeah.
Oh, so you did not tie them to a bed and hit their ankles with a sledgehammer a la Kathy Bates?
No.
That would make some interesting dancing.
I basically said, I'm celebrating 10 years performing. Would you come be a part of my show? And here's a costume, do my act. And
So
they all went, okay.
This is a
that
10-year
sounds
anniversary show for you.
Yeah.
And
10 years
every
performing.
performer is doing an act you originated.
Yes.
And wearing your costume.
Yes, which is quite awkward and silly as well.
Well, yeah, because there are parts of you that are different than parts of them.
Poor Sheila Starciani held my pasty up to her boob, and it looks bigger than a bra cup on her.
Really?
So when I see the big bra with the poodle pasties, it's going to be ridiculous.
Awesome. Well, that's going to be so. Sheila Starciani will be performing. Caramel Knowledge will be there. Nikita Bitch Project. Bo Toxic.
Bella Luna. I'm going to forget people. Nikita Bitch Project.
Awesome.
My friend Don the Ho. Scott Neary is performing. I mean, it's just going to be insane.
It's a wild night of burlesque and variety in tribute to our friend Lily Von Stupp and her 10 years in the business.
That's right.
And
He's my business.
who's hosting that show?
Well, it's really funny because when I was like, who can I get to host this show? Who is like someone that could come up and talk about me and make fun of me and be silly and make me laugh? And then I went, oh, I know, my friend Mike.
What?
And he wasn't available.
All right.
So I called you.
Thank you for calling me.
That was a joke.
I'm glad you included
but I
me.
called you immediately and said I would be honored if you would semi-roast me, make fun of my acts, make fun of me, make fun of life and burlesque, and come have fun with me in this silly celebration of nonsense.
Well, I will be doing that, and that's this Monday on September 15th.
Yes.
Which is also when I can't say people's names, but it's I was going to say it is a someone's birthday who I know, but she's too young to have her name mentioned on the show, so I can't do that. It's Mex's daughter's birthday, is who I would say.
Well, I think
So
her name has already been on the show.
I don't think so. No, I may have talked about the boy. May have talked about my godson, but I haven't. Well, let's put it this way. We're getting into a territory where I'm sure that I can't talk about her because she's in high school and all that. You know, that sort of thing where it's just like, it would be too creepy and weird. And I've already done that by even bringing her up now, which is stupid, and we should cut it out. Should we cut this out? Or?
Awkward is awesome. No.
Oh, yeah, awkward is awesome. I think that's my favorite Schoolhouse Rock. All right, so, the show is the 15th. It's going to be
Awkward.
awesome. Get your awkward here. So exciting, the 15th. It's going to be an amazing show at the 3 Clubs in Santa Monica. On Vine.
Not in Santa Monica.
On Vine at Santa Monica. All right, in Hollywood.
Yes.
And then there's plenty of other shows coming up. If you go to brownpapertickets.com, tickets are available for all of the upcoming Monday Night Tees shows. If you go to facebook.com/Monday Night Tees, you can become a part of the page, part of the community. Join that page. You'll find out about all the upcoming shows, see the photos and things like that. But this Monday night, the 15th, is going to be a fun show. I will be hosting. Lily will be performing. And all sorts of other surprises will be involved. Scott Neary is there. I'm sure there's going to be cooking breakfast. It's going to be fantastic. So come on out to the show. And as always, if I'm there, if you smack Lily on the ass, you get in free, as you know.
That is never correct, and I've had people ask, and I've said, if you try that, I literally will break your face.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. What are you? You're a biker from the 70s. You're going to
am.
break their face. All right. Well, then, take your chances, folks. It comes out, you take your chances. You might get in free. You might have your face broken. Who knows? But try it out this Monday night at the Monday Night Tees at the 3 Clubs on Vine at Santa Monica. Always available, always fun, always exciting. Come out and have a good time with us this particular Monday. If you go to MikeSchmidtComedy.com and go to the Joe Business page, there's all sorts of neat stuff there. We've got the For the Life of Schmitty download. We've got Tweaked Audio and their fine products that they help us out with. We've got year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5, and year 6 of this show available individually or together as part of the Reservoir Schmidt Dogs box set. You can get the Yurt Dirt Dirt shirt, which is available now. And again, ask me about other shirts. I got a few other shirts if you're interested. I got plenty of shirts. I'm a shirt baron, is who I am. And this is also important, and we thank you for doing this. A lot of people have been stepping up and doing this. We are Amazon affiliates. So if you go to the MikeSchmidtComedy.com and you click through and you go to the Joe Business page, you will see an Amazon pennant on the wall. Click on that. It takes you to our Amazon store, and then click through that to Amazon itself. Buy some stuff. We get credit. You get stuff because you paid for it. And then we get part of what you paid. Pretty neat. Now, I was listening. It was funny. I was in the Loner today. I was in the Xterra. And so there's no satellite radio, so I cannot listen to Dragnet and such and sundry. But I had to listen to a regular show. I heard Jay Moore on his radio show today. And Jay Moore he does the Amazon deal as well. And then he says, if you write him, he will say your name on the air and say what you bought. And I didn't get the appeal of it, really. But I'll throw it out there. What the hell? I'll ape something from our friend Jay Moore. And by our friend, I mean a guy who's never met me in his life. But if you buy something from Amazon and then you want to write me and go, dude, I totally bought this on Amazon through your thing, I'll say your name and say what you bought. Is that something that we should do? I guess so. Why not? I'll copy Jay Moore. So if you want me to tell the world that you bought Depends undergarments and you want me to say your name, please write me and I'll do so. Well, actually, you have to buy them, though. I need proof of purchase. I can't just have you saying, hey, dude, I bought some Depends undergarments. My name's Nick. And then I'm like, hey, Nick bought Depends undergarments. And Nick's at home just snickering in his sleeve. Ha ha, I didn't really buy those. Well, hey, then we didn't get a dime. And why you got a plug for nothing, Nick? Nick, why would you do that to us? We're your friends, man. We've been in your ear for 7 years. Nick, you jerk. So, again, go to the Joe Business page there and do all that neat stuff and buy stuff and get cool stuff. Please remember, more things that you have to remember. I will be at the Los Angeles Podcast Festival at the end of the month. Lily Von Stubb says she'll be attending this year.
I'll be there too. Why are you going?
I was going to be doing a show.
Oh, I was just going to visit.
It would be so cool if you came to my show.
Okay.
It's on Saturday.
Okay, I will.
Folks, it's the Los Angeles Podcast Festival. It is Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the Sofitel in Beverly Hills, which sounds like a French pastry, but it is a hotel, from what I understand. Whenever I say Sofitel, I always think of the So Fucking What movie. Wasn't there a movie called So Fucking What? Sofitel. Isn't there a Femme Fatale? A Femme Sofitel. Why am I having fun with language? Stop. But go stay at the Sofitel Hotel, and then you will go ahead and check out the shows on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I will be involved on Saturday. Now, I've heard that Walking the Room has dropped out. I was head-to-head with Walking the Room, but now I've heard that Walking the Room will not be involved. So I don't know who's on head-to-head with me at noon. And again, the lineup is always subject to change, but I will tell you this. I do not think I am subject to change. I think I am going to be on Saturday at noon. That's what I think. That's what I've been told. I don't think it's changing. Nobody's told me. But I will find out in the coming weeks, I'm sure. But we don't have that much time left for them to move me around. I will just tell you this. Saturday, noon, I'm performing at the Sofitel at the Los Angeles Podcast Festival. Please come Friday, because I will be there Friday meeting people and saying hello and hanging out all night long. And then Saturday morning, Lily and I will get there bright and early with cronuts for everybody. And then I will do my show at noon. Probably won't have cronuts for anybody. Jack in the Box has cronuts now. And it's like, I don't want my first taste of a cronut to be at Jack in the Box. Like, I want to have the real deal, right?
I don't want my first taste of anything to be.
True. I don't want a taste of anything. Fuck first. I don't want a taste of anything at Jack in the Box. So if you go to tiny.cc/40YOBPOD, you can get tickets for the festival. Now, you can buy individual tickets to come and see me on Saturday. You can buy 3-day passes to come Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can buy an individual ticket to come on Sunday and not see me at all. You jerk. What are you, Nick? I don't know. You do that, and you can buy that as long as you use my link. I don't care what you buy. But I'll tell you what. Here's the offer. If you go to tiny.cc/40YOBPOD and you buy tickets to the Los Angeles Podcast Festival, write me, and I'll say your name on the air and say what you bought. Sounds like a good deal. So you got to go to tiny.cc/40YOBPOD. And then I get some credit. Everybody's like, wow, dude, you're totally a hitter. And I'm like, yes, I am a hitter. And then maybe I get to go back for the year 2014. And then I get bumped. Who knows? I don't know if it'll be at the Sofitel. But if you buy some stuff and I get credit for it, they'll be like, dude, we totally got to bring Mike back. Yes, you do. Lily shakes her head and says, no, they don't have to bring me back.
I'm just laughing because I'm now thinking of a sofa tell because of you. And so now you say it and I can't.
A Sofitel, you know what that's like? That's like if a dude is playing poker and sitting on a comfy couch.
It's a sofa tell.
He's got a Sofitel.
I can't, now I will never be able to say the word right.
Sofitel. So go to the MikeSchmidtComedy.com website and then go to that link and buy stuff and do all that neat stuff. I will say this. Here's a pledge I make to you guys. All right? If you come to the Sofitel and you find yourself in an elevator with me, I will not punch you in the face and drag your unconscious body into the foyer. I promise that. I promise. You might think that I would be the kind of guy who would do something like that, but I will tell you right now that I will not. And not just because I think I'm scared that there might be a camera in there and I would lose my cushy job in the National Football League, but just because I'm not the kind of guy who would punch you and drag your unconscious body out of an elevator. I've been watching clips and hearing discussions for days about this, and they're saying, oh, you know, Ray Rice should have been suspended for longer than 2 days, or he should have been suspended for. Let's take football out of the equation. How is Ray Rice not in an orange jumpsuit in a jail somewhere? Like, I just don't get it. I don't know about reincarnation. I don't know if I'm going to come back as something. I don't even know if I'm ever going to die. I may live forever. You know why, folks? Because I have fame. It is. That's okay.
God, I hate it when people do that. I'm just like, seriously.
Well, that's what happens.
I'm so tired.
But I don't know about reincarnation. I would never want to be a woman in this country. I don't understand it. I don't get, and look, not just this country. I don't know about any country except maybe France. They're nice to ladies in France, aren't they? They buy them fancy shoes and coffee. They kiss their hands. They buy them a baguette and they do mime for them in the park and they send them off to home. I saw Amelie. Everybody was nice to Amelie. She was totally awesome. Amelie deserved everybody to be nice to her. But like here, man, it's like every time I read something, it's some woman got hassled on a subway train, or they filmed her on a bus, or they made her take her shirt off because they thought that she might be smuggling something, but they really wanted to see her tits. And it's like, I don't. And again, I walk a thin line too, because I don't know who I am as a guy. I mean, I try to be respectful and I hope I'm being respectful and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm confused now. I don't know what is disrespectful anymore. I don't know what is something that that would put a woman on alert. Although I can tell you this, clearly a left hook in an elevator is something that would put a woman on alert. I really think it would certainly put her on blast, and I think it puts her on Queer Street right away because that woman got jacked, hit her head, and then went down. And then she released a thing today where she's defending Ray Rice, and she's upset, and she said the media cost him all of this stuff. And again, I'm not a woman, I'm not a man, I don't understand the abusive relationship deal. I got no insight into that whatsoever. But people are ridiculing her and making fun of her, and they're angry at her. And it's like, why do that? This is her choice. You know, she's chosen to stay with this guy, and maybe there's a lot of love there that didn't come flying out of her mouth with teeth and spittle when he punched her in the face in an elevator. I don't know. I can't speak to their relationship. Because look, I've done some crazy stuff in elevators. I'm not going to literally, this show starts as a tiny snowball, and at the end, the hundreds are dead at the bottom of a ravine. I mean, I get that. Believe me, if there's any show in the history of the world that does not need to be transcribed for posterity, it's this one. I like when nobody can see the seams. I like when I'm able to kind of just, fly with the bees wherever. When I have to actually stop the bees and ask for directions, that's not fun. I just like unleashing the bees, but when the bees have to stop in mid-flight and we all have to kind of look at each other and bust out a fucking map, that's not fun at all. I want to saddle up these bees and ride, goddammit! I'm done.